Hey there. Saturday, we made it. We are playing Tyranny. This is part 7. At the end of last stream, we made it to Lethian's Crossing, which appears to be a big old bustling RPG town. And today we are going to poke around, see what we see what it has, see who there is to talk to, what kind of quests we got, what kind of shops there are, all that good stuff. We know there's a spire here. And we know that we want to gain control of that spire, although, to be fair, we don't really understand why. By we, I mean me. And we know that the spires are related to the so-called Old Walls, which are forbidden by the evil overlord. And in case anybody is just joining us and is unaware, we are working for the evil overlord Kairos. That is the premise of this game. You are a mid-level, upper mid-level bureaucrat type person who is in my case kind of going along with things, trying not to be a complete dick about it, but we're being sympathetic towards the bad guy, I suppose. Supposedly you can side with the rebels, play the hero like any other RPG, but I thought it'd be fun to see how this game plays out as the bad guy, so to speak. So, yeah, hope everybody's day and weekend are going well so far. If you are looking to get caught up, we have the VODs of this on YouTube. There's a link on my Twitch profile, but it's just youtube.com/Sean Beanland, and there's a playlist of the prior parts of this playthrough. As I said, this is part 7, and I have no idea how many parts this is gonna end up being. I have a feeling it'll be a lot, but that's okay. So, with that, I can't think of anything else at the moment. So yeah, let's get going. I am reading all of the text, vast majority of the text, let's say, and I've got some tea to try to help keep my voice from getting too hoarse too quickly. This looks like it's going to be a fun place to explore, so let us see what there is to see. And let me take a drink of this tea before we get going. It is still extremely hot, so I'm not going to drink too much. Alright. So we've got a couple Scarlet Chorus folks here, looks like. This is the faction that we sided with at the end of the first act. Welcome to Lethian's Crossing, Fatebinder. So these, so far, are unnamed NPCs. Ah, okay. Call me Fatebinder in the flavor text, but they're gonna act like we don't know, like this person doesn't know who I am, so. Hey there, outsider. You're entering Lethian's Crossing, the most important Scarlet Chorus settlement in the Tiers. The settlers and merchants here are under our protection, so don't start anything. I'd be happy to show you the error of your ways. What do you need here in the crossing? Who's in charge here? The Scarlet Chorus leader around here is Crimson Spear Tear Smasher. So his name is Tear Smasher. He's in charge of keeping the settlement under control, and I suggest you not get on his bad side. Otherwise, speak to Eldian. He's the town elder, and who you'll want to speak to about local problems. The ones we don't give a shit about. He laughs and points to the east. Both of them can be found on the ground tier of the Moonrise District. What is the Moonrise District? The Moonrise District is made up of all the buildings on the other side of the river. If you need anything on this side, you'll be looking in the Sunrise District. This Portuscore River divides the two districts. Portuscore. I don't know. I hope we don't need to say that word too often. I'm looking for Harshian de Bronze. Can you tell me where to find him? He's one of the merchants, right? He turns and points north to a collection of vendor stalls. He's right up there. If you cross the river, you've gone too far. What kind of merchants do you have here? You'll find pretty much anything you want, for the most part. Lethian's Crossing is a large trading hub, and a lot of goods come through the area. Tell me more about Lethian's Crossing. The settlers have been here for a long time. That's pretty much all I know. If you want particulars, find Eldian. He's the town elder. He can answer your questions. If you haven't done it already, check in with Crimson Spear Tear Smasher. He'll want to talk to you, and you'll regret it if you don't. Why don't we review our journal, just to make sure we're getting everything. So, in this act, we're kind of dealing with the fallout of Act 1, which is that a civil war among the Overlord's armies has kind of broken out. We sided with the Scarlet Chorus, who is headed up by a being called the Voices of Nerat, as laid out here. They're kind of chaotic evil type folks. And we sided against the Disfavored, who are led by an Archon named Graven Ash. And it looks like we are looking for evidence here to try to find out why the situation in Act 1 kind of went so bad. We are trying to navigate between these two factions and put down a rebellion, which we did. We put down the rebellion, but the fact that these two factions are fighting so badly with one another is of concern to those in charge, namely our boss Tunon, the Adjudicator, and his boss Kairos, the Overlord. So we are looking for evidence to find out why this sniping and bickering was happening. Have either of them betrayed the Overlord, that kind of thing. Again, we sided with the Voices of Nerat, so we are biased towards him, I would say. But it will be interesting to see what we uncover, because regardless of what we uncover, I am guessing that we will have some choices as to how to interpret and further act on the evidence we find. So, yeah. So another quest we have is to, of course, go speak to the Voices of Nerat and see what he has to say for himself as far as the Civil War goes. And let me see here. Another quest we have is to try to take control of this spire, which we'll see here in a few minutes. We gained control of one spire, which is now our sort of hub of operations, but there is another spire in this town. And I guess we're going to keep learning about them and what their whole deal is, so I'm excited. Let me see here. Just checking on something really quick. And apologies, just give me 1 second. Okay, I think we're good. Anyway.
Slow and steady.
I did not mean to start sneaking around like that, but it's alright.
Can't do that.
I'm just gonna go poke around, see what there is to interact with, and see what we see.
Got it!
So we found a new spell sigil, which is pretty cool. We will, let me see here. We'll give those to our main character. And we'll go ahead and, if I can, yeah, let's read this scroll. We now have a sigil of rooting. So the magic system in this game is pretty cool. It consists of different runes you combine together to give different effects to different spells. So accent that adds the rooted affliction to force and atrophy spells. So what do we have? Force and atrophy. Here we go. Frost. So this adds the rooted affliction. Oh, I need to choose one of these. Let's just do that first. So rooted, which I assume means they can't move. Cannot move, but can still attack and defend themselves. So that's pretty cool. Not gonna do anything with it at the moment. And while we're poking around, let's check if we have any emails from our boss. Let's see, how do we get to that? Missives. We have no missives from the list on the left. See if these settlers have anything to say. I would check around the merchants. I would check out the merchants around town. They always have something that'll catch your eye. Okay, that's helpful. Nothing but miscreants and misfits since the sword or sheath opened. I wish they'd shut it down. It sounds like a tavern of some sort. There's a notable hole in this building, but we can't interact with it. So let's just go up here. What is this? Due to the frequency of raids, all the bridges and ramps in Lethian's crossing can be raised to provide safe places for settlers to hide. Okay, this is just another Scarlet Chorus dude, looks like. There's a merchant here, so maybe let's go say hi. As well as a poison. Alright, what do you have to sell? Merchant Praxis. Good day, my fine friend. Could I interest you in all manner of provisions? There's no telling what may befall you on your travels. Could you tell me anything about this seal? I found it in Vendrian's well. I don't quite remember what seal we're talking about here. I don't recognize it, but one of the other merchants here might. Between us all, there has to be someone who has seen it in their travels. Okay. Show me what you have for sale. Holy smokes, purple items, which I have not encountered before. So we have an amazing spear, it looks like, which, let's see, how does it compare to the one our tank has? Certainly does more DPS, and is more accurate, speeds up our abilities a little bit, but the armor penetration is lower, and it doesn't have this allied AoE where you have +5 parry for 10 seconds. It's pretty expensive, so we're not going to grab it just yet. Don't really know what all of our options are. So this guy just sells weapons, it looks like. Probably pretty good weapons. But just weapons all the same. Okay, so nothing too interesting here. Let's keep exploring. Got another merchant here. Could you tell me anything about this seal? Bastila looks at the seal for a few moments and shakes her head. Can't say I recognize it, but I don't really get into affairs outside of Lethian's Crossing unless I have to. Harshan Bronze might, though. He seems to be well-traveled. Alright, what do you have for sale? I'm sure we can find something you need. Okay, so potions, magic stuff. Whoops, did not mean to pick that up. We already know this sigil, and we already know this sigil, so no boosts there, it looks like. Potion of Heroes. Oh yeah, we have a couple of these, actually. Let's see, do we have any junk we can get rid of? Yeah, we do. Should have done this with the previous guy, but not a big deal. Okay. Alright, well, we're not gonna get anything from her. Okay, Merchant Tychus. Welcome, welcome! The merchant motions you over. What can I get for you today? Be sure to stock up before you leave. There's plenty of wilds between here and the bastard city. Okay, can you tell me anything about the seal? Turns it over in his hands and shakes his head. Doesn't look like any seal I've encountered, sorry. Someone else might know, though. Alright, what do you have for sale? An exquisite bow? Yes, it is a bow. An exquisite javelin, an exquisite dagger. Let's just look at this bow here. It's called Relentless. It's a Scarlet Fury bow. It has a volley ability which fires multiple projectiles. I haven't really been using the bow stuff with our Scarlet Chorus party member verse, so we won't worry about that too much. And again, it looks like it's just weapons here, so not too much for us to get right now, anyway. Of course, there's a pretty good dagger here, which maybe Verse could use, but I don't have her in the party, so it doesn't look like I can compare and see what she currently has. We have a couple or three dudes named Graven, Drupi, and Ripthroat. And then we have another guy named Harshan Bronze, who I believe we're supposed to talk to, at least based on something that someone said earlier. Find a way to gain access to the spire. So, I don't know, maybe this guy will know what this thing is. This mysterious seal that we have. Greetings and salutations! A jolly merchant greets you with a smile and a clap on the shoulder. And welcome to Lethian's Crossing, home of the best merchant in the entirety of the tiers. He pauses and winks. That would be me. Harshan Brand at your service. What can I do for you? Well, could you tell me anything about this seal? Let's take a look, shall we? Harshan takes the seal and turns it over. When he spots the insignia, he quickly deposits it back in your hand and wipes his palms clean. Where did you get that? It came from a merchant caravan that was ransacked. Suspected as much. He mumbles and worries his brow. So far off the normal trading routes, but why there? Why then? Why now? Maybe you could start by telling me about the merchants. He refocuses on you and nods. Of course. The sigil belongs to the Handover Quill Merchant Company. His lips tighten to form a violent pucker. Tell me more about Handover Quill. They were once a powerful trade organization that, well, he cups his mouth and glances around. Let's just say that you didn't want to get between them and a contract. What with Tunan's new laws in the bastard city, the Quill slunk into the shadows of Kairos' authority, trying to keep a lower profile. If you're involved in any of their dealings, stay far away. A shipment of iron and weapons went missing. It was found, with this seal, in a house in Echo Call Crossing. Okay, so we are investigating the the fact that precious iron is going all over the realm, which is quite forbidden in this world. He strokes his shadow of beard growth under his chin. Suspicious, I agree, but war always has its little problems. He waves a dismissal. It doesn't add up. Now, if you can return to the subject of my wares. He smiles and readies to show you some fancy bauble. The weapons were meant for the disfavored, and the Vendrian guard suddenly had iron weapons. Vendrian guard? Arshian drums his fingers on his mouth and considers. Well, this changes things. I suppose. Changes things? What does hand over quill have to do with the Vendrian guard? First things first. Arshian clears his throat. This will come at a price. If something unfortunate took place, and my connection were traced back to me, the consequences would be costly. Well, we could just straight up pay him, or we can say, you know, I'm shocked to find an honest merchant like yourself engaging in an illicit trade. I think we'll go with that. His complexion loses some color. Illicit? Whatever do you mean? Gesture to his wares. That bottle. Essence of mazenberries? A deadly poison. What bottle? Arshian turns, pulling on the end of his beard. He tries to follow the direction of your gesture. There's no... Then his confusion clears, replaced by stark understanding. Of course there's a bottle. And after you tell the authorities that I must have stashed or destroyed it, then it's your word against mine. Am I correct? Most perceptive of you. Occupational hazard. The merchant lets out a heavy sigh. I should be used to this by now. If you breathe a word of this to anyone, I will denounce you for the liar that you are, but... He looks around to make sure that there are no settlers close enough to overhear what is being said. I received instructions from Fifth Eye to use hand over quill to deliver iron weapons to Vendrian's Well Citadel. Don't question my orders, I just follow through. I don't know anything else, and that's the truth. Fifth Eye, Fifth Eye, Fifth Eye. I believe Fifth Eye... You know what? I don't remember, so we'll look it up in a second, after we look at his stuff. I received instructions from Fifth Eye to use hand over quill to deliver iron weapons. Okay. So anyway... Actually, can I look at my journal now? No, doesn't look like it. That's okay. So, this guy actually has some armor. This is called Grounding Garbs. It has shock armor and slightly better deflection. Yeah. I mean, why not get that? Seems like a nice upgrade. Okay, so there's that. There are soft step heel wraps. This is cloth armor. It has a +1 disengagement defense, a higher disengagement defense, and it has +10 subterfuge, which is kind of cool. I kind of want this. We're going to get some good upgrades for my main character. Oops. Okay, then we have something called the Manto of Mirrors. Oh, this is an accessory, it looks like. Reflects 20% of incoming hostile spells back to the casters. That's pretty cool. Right now, I have a quick +1 quickness and +1 vitality equipped. But you don't need extra vitality if you're just reflecting damage back, right? I mean... This thing is pretty pricey. But I kind of want it. We have some things we can sell, I believe, so... Alright, what is this? Light leather gauntlets. So this is a general upgrade, let's say. However, it doesn't have this multi-strike ability, which does some bonus damage. But it's certainly just a nice upgrade in the stats department. I mean, just the base damage alone is quite a bit higher. Okay, we'll try to get this as well. Then we've got a ring counters seal. This is also an accessory. It's plus 10% will defense. Kind of neat. Don't know how important that is though. We've got some more scrolls. This one is new, Sigil of Bleeding. So let's try to get that. Okay, so we're gonna sell a bunch of items, hopefully. We'll start with this, and this, and this. And then let's sell some of these extra weapons that we've got hanging around. I apparently have been carrying this staff around for no good reason. Okay, and what do we have in here? Got a throwing dagger we don't need. Got some armor that we don't need. Not too much else, it looks like. Okay, and are our other characters just lugging stuff around that they don't need? Apparently not. So this is gonna take quite a bit of money from us. But gosh, I really like what it gets us. Why don't I, let me see here, move this into here. And let's move this into here. And I don't know, I guess we'll just move this in here as well. Great, and then I can now equip this, and this, and this. And then we've got this Manto of Mirrors, which I do believe I want. And we'll just grab that. And then Lantry, no, Ebb, we'll give her the accessory of quickness. Cool. Okay, well we're kind of almost broke again, but doing pretty good. Hey Dentalos, how's it going? We're just getting started.
I got it.
We just talked to this guy, Harshian Bronze, about the folks stealing iron, and that reminds me. Let me see here. We have just discovered that the Voices of Nerat was funneling weapons to the Vendrian Guard. Interesting. You know, it certainly seems like the kind of thing that falls in his wheelhouse of, you know, secrets and plots and cunning and all that stuff, but we don't really know what it means yet. We've been modding your Minecraft. I played a little bit of Minecraft years ago, and I have trouble with sandbox games, so I didn't play much of it, but what kind of mods are you installing? Now that I have a RTX card, I should grab that ray trace version of Minecraft and see how it looks. A little of everything. I know so little about Minecraft that I don't even know what you can mod, but I assume basically everything if you really want to. Let's see what's going on in this conversation here. We've got... What do we have here? We've got two Scarlet Chorus folks talking to a rather imposing man named Raven. This is just a settler. Alright, let's quick save and see what's happening in this conversation here. You added a food mod, so you have been farming. So is that like you can grow food and create recipes and stuff? Fatebinder, I need your help. These chorus fools are dominating the brothel worker's time, and I can't get the stud of my choice because he's always occupied. My work isn't getting done. Fix it, please. You can make burgers and stuff? Nice. Man, a burger sounds really good right now. What did we have for lunch today? We had pizza. We had a like homemade French bread pizza. Tonight we're having meat and cheese. This morning we had sausage and pancakes. It was delicious. Had a good meal today. Let me get this straight. You want me to help you have sex? If you want to be crass, then yes, that's exactly what I'm asking you to do. The two chorus members let out a low snicker, and Gravin turns on them. Oh, shut up. This is all so terribly amusing to you, but I know you're doing it on purpose. No, no, you got it all wrong, Gravin. Ripthroat and I aren't laughing. We're trying to keep from crying. This situation is absolutely terrible, isn't it, Ripthroat? It's the worst, Droopai. I can't think of anything sadder than this. You'll get yours. Just wait and see. This adjudication will show that I'm in the right here. Please, Fatebinder, we need you to make a decision. I will adjudicate this issue, but if you ask for my decision, you must all agree to abide by it. Of course I do. I know I have right on my side, and so I will be vindicated. Took me a bit to find a food mod I like. A lot of them are like 20 tools to cook with, modern furniture, or like over 800 recipes. Finally found one that was simple. Yeah, when I mod like Skyrim or Morrowind or something, I'm not usually looking to like overhaul everything to a huge degree. I just kind of want to tweak things and make things a little better. I don't really go in for the crazy, complicated setups, generally speaking. I will obey your demands. Ripthroat points at Droopai. I do what he says. To Ripthroat, technically your statement did not sufficiently fulfill the requirements of my request. What a dick. Ripthroat stares at you with an expression devoid of understanding. Droopai hits her on the back of the head. Say you'll abide by her decision, fool. Oh, she faces you and stands straight. You'll abide by her decision, fool. Droopai hits her again. That's the best you're going to get out of her, Fatebinder. I swear she'll obey. Alright, state your case. My favorite mod combination is probably open cities, traveling NPCs, signposts, and lamps. Yeah, I haven't actually tried the open cities mods, but I've tried all those other ones. I love adding readable signposts to things. I like just adding more NPCs to the world to make it feel more alive and stuff. And anything that kind of adds more realistic lighting, just in the sense of like windows lit up and yeah, like lamps and stuff. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. Um, I think the only reason I haven't tried the Open Cities mods is because when I first heard about them, they were still sort of unstable. So I'm sure they're better now. I just, at this point I haven't played in quite a while. It can cause chaos sometimes, but it's fun. Yeah, I mean, I really missed Open Cities from Morrowind and Daggerfall and stuff. I'm I'm really hoping the next Elder Scrolls they finally go back to open, seamless cities because the cities in The Witcher 3 are incredible, and I just really enjoy um, how the whole mood of those things. You kind of come up through the fields and the workers, and then you go through the gates, and then you just wander around town. I love that stuff. Enemy army just invading Whiterun. That's funny, actually. It's too bad that whole Civil War thing in Skyrim never panned out the way I felt like it should have. I know there's mods for that too, but it sounds like they are kind of buggy as well, which is too bad. Okay. Graven, our sex fiend, says, I need to relax in a very specific way, and there's only one person who can do that for me. These Scarlet cretins are always using him, and I don't get any time. I know they're doing it on purpose. Normally, I'd say I'd be willing to share, but their behavior is deplorable. I want exclusive use at their expense. Tell them they can't use him anymore. I modded my Fallout 4 into Oblivion. Like, literally into the game Oblivion, or just to hell and back, basically. How did I mod Fallout 4? I did the dialogue mod that actually displays all the text, like a real RPG. To hell and back, yeah. Bethesda, Oblivion, I just wanted to be sure. I added some more music to Fallout 4. I might have done like a lighting mod, like nothing crazy, just something to kind of tweak the colors and stuff. I'm blanking on the name right now. Yeah, I was one of those people who did not care for the crafting stuff at all, so I I didn't remove it or anything, but I certainly didn't go nuts with improving it either. Wolfie, hey man, welcome. I realized on Fallout 4, if you turn off the radio completely, the ambient music is actually really good. Yes, it is. Both Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, I would often just turn off the radio and just soak in that ambiance, you know? It's weird. Fallout as a series is not like when they announce a new Fallout game, I'm not like super excited because the worlds are just so depressing and stuff. But when I do actually sit down and play those games, it's a hell of a mood, right? Like they're very unique. Even compared to Elder Scrolls, there's just something about them that is a very strong sense of place and atmosphere. You play on survival and want to hear the world. That makes sense. I thought it was cool that they added more um, survival elements to Fallout 4 after a while. You live for Fallout more so than Elder Scrolls. Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, I mean, they're both great series. I think at some point I do want to play Fallout 76. It sounds like it's a pretty interesting game now. I would probably only play it solo, but at this point, I have so much other stuff to play that who knows when that will ever happen. Fallout 4 Survival is an experience. I do use a mod that makes both me and enemies do equally high damage to each other. Yeah, yeah, I can see that being interesting. Sometimes it gets tiring, like as far as dealing with like the bullet sponginess of enemies in Fallout. Well, and Elder Scrolls too, honestly. So yeah, having like only a couple hits, before things are resolved is sounds kind of nice to be honest. Wolfie, I'm drinking tea today because reading this game causes my voice to go out, so I needed something to help delay that by a few minutes at least. No coffee for me today, or at least this afternoon. Contemplated playing Fallout 4 on stream, but my next endeavor is Mafia 1 and 2. Yeah, yeah. I played Mafia 3 and it was really good. It's the only one I've played. I mean, I know it's a lot different from the other Mafia games, but I really enjoyed 3. It had a really good story. Um, Unique compared to, I mean, any open world game I've played. I really liked it. 1 and 2 kick three's ass. Yeah, well, I'll play them eventually. One day. In survival, you can only save when you sleep. Yeah, that's right. I remember hearing that. Settlements become really important. Well, I like the idea of making settlements feel more integral to the experience because it really was something I did not get invested in. Like I built them up, but once I had them up to a certain level, once I could put turrets down, I just ignored them. Um, I didn't care to defend them or really put much effort into them, sadly. You think 3 had a good story, you need to play the first 2. Okay, well, I I'll move them up the list a little bit then. You know, there's 10,000 games to play at any given moment, so. But the screenshots I've seen of the remake of 1 look incredible, and I've always heard over the years that 1 is a really unique experience in a good way, so I'd like to play both of those games at some point. I think I played 3 first because 1 and 2 were pretty old, and I heard just a lot of good things about 3's story and how it kind of portrayed, racism in America and, just that whole kind of time period was really well done. And I agreed after I played it. So it was a pretty interesting game. But it certainly did not feel like I was playing a Mafia game. It was more like just a GTA alike, basically. So I used a mod that let me fast travel between settlements. And then you made a point to do up every settlement that I captured. Yeah. Yeah. I think if I played Fallout 4 again, I would probably try siding with the Steel Brotherhood just for something different. I mean, they're fascist dickheads, but it'd be a little different. Maybe I could, kill the settlement guy who's always asking for help. That got dark. Anyway, slight word of warning: Mafia is of the old school game, so it can be tough. Yeah, yeah, I believe it. I wonder if they softened that at all for the remake. Um, at least maybe add some more checkpoints or something. That would be nice. Yeah. Okay, so tell them they can't use him anymore. So we can. I mean, this guy is telling us, did you just tell me how to roll? Or we can just say, what do you have to say in your defense? Let's just go with, what do you have to say in your defense? With all due respect, Fatebinder, if we have the money and time, there is nothing wrong with what we're doing. He may not like it, but we aren't breaking any laws. Which is a fair point. To Drupal, are you specifically targeting Graven? Of course we are! Ripthroat starts to laugh, and Drupal punches her in the side. Ripthroat looks confused and steps away from Drupal a little. Of course we aren't, is what my friend here meant to say, Fatebinder. We wouldn't be caught dead doing something so callous, so heartless. You'll tell me when you play it? Okay, yeah, I'll be interested to know the differences. So funny! Ripthroat laughs again and sidesteps another punch from Drupal. They have a point, they aren't actually doing anything wrong. But they are being bullies, which I cannot abide. Maybe not wrong by the law, but they are taunting me, torturing me. They are intentionally occupying the one person I need to see. It's targeted and abusive harassment. It must stop or I can't do my work properly. Everything is suffering because of these two. Okay, I'm ready to decide. Do any of you have anything final you'd like to say? They are dominating the entertainment I need to properly relax and intentionally tormenting me. They should be barred from partaking in any activities with that performer. There is no law stating that we cannot hire that particular entertainer as many times as we want. We have done nothing wrong. He may not like it, but that can't be helped. Okay, so our choices are to side with Graven, I don't know, and they will, tell them that you will cease what you're doing immediately. We can say they're doing nothing wrong, yada yada. None of you are allowed to use that performer again. He's off limits to everybody. Fuck you all. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and side with Graven because These Scarlet Chorus punks are being dickheads, so... Thank you, Fatebinder. It is good to see saner heads prevail today. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go relax. Okay, well, that felt a little anticlimactic. Also, they're all walking away instead of going into the brothel, so that's a little weird. But let us go into the brothel. It's not an RPG unless you can go into the brothel and hire a escort or two. Come on in. Well, actually, let's get to know one another first. Some interesting dancing going on here. Somebody's enjoying himself. We've got a Beastman, we've got Settlers, we've got a Scarlet Chorus person, and a lot of named NPCs, it looks like. Alright, well, let's say hi to Balin Thur here. Balin Tur. Welcome to the Sword or Sheath, traveler. The robust, ruddy-faced man at the door greets you warmly. Please come in and get a load off. I am the master of this wonderful establishment, and trust me on this one, the pleasure will be all yours. Balin is the name, but all of my friends call me Bay. He winks and holds out his hand. Would you like to be my friend? So for 76, it's okay. They added extra grind to late game to make it last, and everything kind of relies on you getting top-tier legendary weapons. I remember in Fallout New Vegas, you can have a sex robot and get the option to test it. The robot is Fisto. New Vegas is one that I started and I never finished, but I'm a little sad I missed Fisto the robot. Fisto. Ooh. Anyway, time for some sex shenanigans. He drops his hand when he sees your face and stands up straight, only to immediately bow to you as formally as he can. Fatebinder, what an immense pleasure it is to have you visit the Sword or Sheath. How can I be of service to you? Or rather, how can my wonderful selection of entertainers be of service to you? And that laugh is over the top. He makes a sweeping gesture, drawing attention to the various men and women, and one beastman, entertaining the happy patrons of the establishment. Tell me more about the Sword or Sheath. Now, if anyone knows about this establishment, it would be you, Fatebinder, Balin exclaims. Excuse me. If not for your intervention during the Brotherhood's occupation of the Crossing, we wouldn't even exist. He smiles and winks. Granted, I like to think we have improved conditions, a little past conscripted prostitution. Now all of my entertainers set their own prices and I take a cut. It's good for us both. I think I was involved in this somehow, but I don't remember exactly. Tell me about yourself. Me? Balin's eyes widen with mock surprise. That is hardly a story worth telling, Fatebinder. I was a simple, struggling merchant until you decided to establish this very brothel to control the Brotherhood's lustful desires. I may not be the best merchant, but I know an opportunity when I see it, so I volunteered to run the brothel. I can't sell trinkets to save my life, but people? Well, they sell themselves, don't they? He laughs. So life is good for simple old Balin, I'll tell you that. You always miss the option for this place. You mean when you're doing the conquest to start with, you always miss this? I'm like really pleased that I apparently chose this. Yeah. Not to say I was always swimming in cream, he smiles and winks. It was a rough start, especially with the entertainers who were, for lack of a better word, forced to entertain our clients. But once people realized the money to be made, I was overwhelmed by requests to work here. You wouldn't believe the waiting list to get a shot. He elbows your side jovially, and a lot of people want a job, too. Yeah. I let the entertainers set their fees, and I take a flat fee off the top of every transaction. If they up their fee past a certain point, I take a bigger cut plus a percentage. This ensures my entertainers don't charge so much that people never return, but don't charge so little that I don't make any rings. Okay. Do you have anything to eat or drink? I'd say take your pick of my beauties, but I get the feeling you actually mean you want food and drink. Balin smiles slyly. I don't have much because that's not really why people come here, but you're welcome to peruse the menu. It's a literal menu. Okay, good to know. Okay. Cheese. I feel like, see, I don't feel like visiting the brothel is a strange thing to do in an RPG. I feel like it's like every classic RPG had a brothel, right? I mean, Dragon Age did, I'm sure. Certainly the older BioWare games did. You know, once they went more mainstream, maybe it became less common. I'm not sure. If there's cheese, I'm sold. Don't care that it's a brothel. Just give me the cheese. How much does it cost to partake? It all depends on what you're looking for and who you want to play with. Balin smiles, sweeping his hand about once again to encompass the room and its entertainers. Simply approach whomever grabs your interest and work out the details with them. But if you find it's too hard to decide, I can tell you a little about each one. The master needs to know his entertainers intimately, of course. Which of my beauties would you like to know about? Would you like to know about? Let's not go through this whole giant list yet. Take the solo room. I'd like a little time to myself, please. That would be me. Like, let's be honest. I'm so awkward. I would go to a brothel and then ask for time by myself. I'll take an order of everyone, please, right? Okay, let's walk around and just say hello to everybody. And also steal stuff from the highlighted items. Okay, this is a bunch of junk, which is fine, but, let's dump this all in the stash. I'd be too awkward to even go in. Yeah, I can't even imagine what it would be like to go into an actual brothel. I'm very, boring, let's say. Okay, Everista. Well, hello, gorgeous. The beautiful brown-haired woman calls out to you. My name is Everista, and I'm ready to show you pleasures you've never seen before. She briefly stops dancing and presses up against you. You'll never want to leave. Tell me about yourself. You don't need to know anything more than this. I will take care of your every need. Just lie back and let me do all the work. You'll wonder how you lived before me. What can you offer that the others can't? This seems so, clinical. Oh, sweetie, you have no clue. She laughs lightly. But if you are looking for something particularly saucy, let me give you the dirty Lethian. Her voice drops to a whisper. She was a filthy, filthy woman. Oh, how we miss her. How much for your company? The price is 50 for the night. Okay, good to know. Let me ask you something first. Oh, are you a talker? Are you going to reprimand me? Have I been a naughty girl? Everista giggles and pokes her bottom out at you, then gives it a little smack. Are you going to tell me what you like? I'll come back later. We need to interview everybody before we make our choice. And, hopefully before, Twitch bans me for whatever's about to go down here. Let's go speak with Thalys over here. A giant man with mutton chops and well-defined muscles dances before you. As you watch, his hands drop to his belt line, and he slowly caresses the front of his pants as he moves. When he finally speaks, he moves his hand, revealing an enormous bulge beneath the fabric. You need something? He smiles broadly. Name's Thalys, and if you like what you see, I'm ready to give you a closer look. I wonder if your companions have anything to say. That is an excellent question. I will chat them up here once I'm done with Thalys. Tell me about yourself. I'm big, I'm strong, I'm insatiable. Thalys stops and grins. Is there any more you need to know? He lets out a little laugh. I was a lumberjack, that's not too unbelievable, but I got tired of the work. Too much swinging, sweating, and pain, and not nearly enough pleasure, so I offered my services to Bay. He winks, and when Bay had enough, he gave me a job. What can you offer that the others can't? Alice flexes for you, making various poses before thrusting his hips at you. If you want to spend some time with me, I'll unleash the Purple Scourge for you. Bay and I came up with the move, and I believe you'll find it well worth your while. I don't know, the Purple Scourge does not sound appealing, I'll be honest. How much do you charge? 50 rings for the night. Okay, let me ask you something first. And that's it, okay. Alright, Lantry, what do you have to say?
One moment, my friend. Just let me finish this thought.
Ending his note with a flourish, Lantry licks the tip of the quill, pausing to taste it a second and third time before tucking the pen in a holster on his sleeve. Let's discuss current matters.
Of course. How can I help?
Okay, I don't know if he has anything to say.
Lethian was a merchant. Fearless one at that. Takes a rare breed of profiteer to risk settling a corner of the old walls. These days, the settlement is bustling. Though really, displaced war refugees are the reason for the crossing's recent growth.
He is voiced because he's one of the main companions in the game. So your companions are the ones that have voice acting. Not 100%, but they do have some. So if it's not clear...
You were the governor of this place for a time,
what?
right? That must have been an interesting experience.
I realized I forgot to move the camera up before I started here, so... let me unlock it real quick. Yeah, you weren't seeing the user interface down there. Which also doesn't show up right now because we're in dialogue, but you'll see it in a little bit. But my party is in the bottom right here, and I can interact with them and chat them up, that kind of thing. In fact, maybe let me move that a little more. If we can. Yeah. I was fiddling with camera positions in Final Fantasy the other night. That game has so much UI, it's tough to avoid. Okay, well, we'll see how that goes. Okay, you were the governor of this place for a time, right? That must have been an interesting experience. Care to discuss it? Lantry pulls a quill out from his sleeve and readies a sheaf of parchment. Let's tell him an anecdote. So this disfavored soldier falls in love with Siren. Lantry nods enthusiastically as he makes note of your tale. His writing moves from off the small bit of parchment and onto his left hand, the saga finally ending on his forearm. It's interesting.
I appreciate the exposition. Future generations will enjoy the nuances of your life. It will matter far more to them than it ever will to you. Such is the madness of fame. Of course. How can I help?
Okay, well that was interesting. So, okay, he has nothing to comment at the moment about the brothel, it seems, but yeah, so, yeah, this is the user interface down here. So if I only select one, we've got our hot bar and all kinds of other goodies. And that was completely blocked before, so... okay, so... Eb, what do you think of this place?
What is it you need?
I suspect none
I have
of
a
them.
great deal of ambivalence regarding the Scarlet Chorus. Narad is worse than Kairos, yet many in the chorus were my countrymen. Most of them fighting because they will suffer worse indignities if they do not. So I must ask, what is your goal behind working with the voices of Narad?
We did this already. We glared silently in the
I'm
past.
not sure I find your silence on this matter of much...
Okay. Alright. Doesn't seem like they have anything to say, unfortunately. Okay, let's continue the brothel interviews. Let's speak with Sheila. A beautiful, dark-skinned woman dances slowly by herself, her hands moving over the curves of her body. Her shirt is barely held closed over her breast by a single button which she is playing with while she dances. What can I do for you this beautiful day? She watches you closely as her hand leaves the button and slowly traces the line of her cleavage. If you want a good time, then you've come to the right place. Sheila is here to take care of you. Those ladies look like they were T-posing. Nah. It's completely realistic dancing. I'm sure I saw it in a movie once. Tell me about yourself, Sheila. Now why would you want to spoil the mood and talk about regular life? She pouts and stops dancing. Her shoulders droop and she wrinkles her nose. I'm a wonderful mother, and I'm only doing this to care for my wonderful children. Without me, they'd be lost. She lets out a hearty laugh. Can you just imagine me, a mother? She laughs again. Who I am doesn't matter, you sweet thing. What I can do is what matters, and what I do can make you forget about everything that troubles you. What can you offer that the others can't? Well, I'm no expert in the area of the magical arts, but I do know a trick or two. Mix that with my true skills, and you have something that will curl your toes and have you singing my praises to the whole town. Let me give you the Tidecaster's flow. Everyone will ask you how you sing so loudly. Oh my. 30 rings for the night. Little cheaper for the Tidecaster's flow. Okay. We'll think about it, Sheila. Let's see what Roxana has to say. The tall blonde is dancing with a gorgeous brown-skinned woman, breaking it off when she catches sight of you. Hello there, you beautiful creature. She grips the side of her dress and pulls it up ever so slightly as she gyrates her hips. My name is Roxana, but you can call me Roxy. What can I do to you? What can I do to you? Tell me about yourself. I don't like to talk about the past, sweetie. She puts an arm on your shoulder and leans in. What matters to me is right now. And right now, I want to see what's under your clothes. She playfully pulls at them. What can you offer that the others can't? I think you should ask what I won't offer. Roxana bites her bottom lip. Whatever you want, I'm always up for it. This is your lucky day. You just found someone who will never say no. But if you really want a way to remember your visit to Lethian's Crossing, let me show you my old wall's breach. It just might make you weep. I don't know what that means. Alright. Also a little cheaper than the first two options. Alright, let's talk to Half-Mast over here. These names are incredible. Half-Mast. The rough-looking beastman grunts at you. Although it seems to have been recently brushed, his fur is matted in clumps, and he occasionally scratches himself, gingerly sniffing his claw when he finishes. The small loincloth around his waist does little to cover him, and your gaze moves of its own accord to stare at what's between its legs. He smiles. Human-like Half-Mast? Half-Mast, yeah, baby. Tell me about you. Second, is this even safe? All right, we'll do that one next. But tell me about yourself. Half-Mast sniffs. Beastman, fine town. Humans in Lethian's Crossing are nice to Beastman. Balin give Half-Mast job, and now Half-Mast give people happy time. Yeah. we'll hold a vote. We'll hold a vote for who we go with. So, let's see about the last one first. Okay, is this even safe? Human, no worry. Half-Mast not use claws. Half-Mast give human the brood hole. Human very happy with Half-Mast brood hole. Half-Mast smiles and clumsily pokes the first finger of his left hand through a circle made from the thumb and first finger of his right hand. How much do you charge for your services, Half-Mast? 25 rings for the night. So, as we move from one direction to the other, it's getting cheaper, is what I'm seeing so far. Alright. Okay, we have Philo and Charitus left. Also, let's loot this box here. It has a random shield. We'll just put it there for now. Okay, Philo. Give me your best spiel. The lanky man stops dancing when he catches your eyes and clasps his hands in front of him. He leans down and steps over his arms and pulls them up behind him. His shoulders make a small pop, and his hands are once again in front of him without him ever having pulled them apart. He smiles. That is but a drop in a very large ocean. As he speaks, he pulls his right leg up, holding it vertically against his side in a standing split. What can Philo do to loosen you up? Tell me about yourself. I used to perform as a contortionist. He lies prone on the floor, bringing his legs up over him to rest on his shoulders. Then he moves them from his shoulders to the ground in front of him and stands, slowly bringing himself back upright to gaze in your eyes. That's the only thing you need to know about me. Well, yeah, that's fair. Oh, Lord. Okay, what can you offer that the others can't? I mean, I think we know. If my acrobatics aren't enough to pique your interest, then let me try to entice you with this. He holds up one of his hands and moves his thumb around, hypnotically. It reminds you of a snake. Maybe you'd like to try edging the ruins. I guarantee it will put a smile on your face. 50 rings for the night. Okay, we're back up to premium prices. Okay, and finally we have Charitus, I believe. Greeting and welcome to the Sword or Sheath. The hardy blonde man raised a hand in greeting as you approached. My name's Charitus, but don't let the name fool you. I'm not giving anything away. Tell me about yourself. Nothing too exciting ever happened to me, Charitus shrugs. I was an adventurer seeking my fortune far and wide, and what I found was Bay, who offered me a job. I've been here ever since. What can you offer that the others can't? While my moves may not be as exotic as Everista or Philo, I do know one trick that no one else does. I learned it out at sea crossing the churning straits. Spend the night with me and I'll give you the leaky port, and your life will never be the same. Yeah, this guy took an arrow to the knee. 30 rings for the night. Alright, quick save. Alright everyone, cast your votes, and if you need a refresher of who offers what, do let me know. I'll be happy to reread their offerings again. I'm guessing, Wolfie, you're still voting for half-mast here. Yep. Dentailus, if you're still around, let me know. Let me know your deepest desires. Maybe while we're waiting, let's ask him about half-mast. I like a room to myself. Oh, Lord. Go for the beast. Alright, well, that settles it. We will do that in just a second. I wanted to ask this guy about half-mast. Ah, here we go. Okay, what's up with half-mast? Confidentially, I would watch out with half-mast. Balin gestures at the beastman by the fireplace. Don't let him charge you too much. He's been told specifically to give people a discount. See, he may not necessarily satisfy you completely, but you will definitely get your money's worth. Look at all that fur. So much to grab onto. Only Beastman available in all the tiers, right here in the Sword or Sheath. Okay, make sure to get some cheese afterwards. Alright, let's see how much money we have. We are pretty low. Well, maybe they're asking for bronze rings, in which case we have plenty of money. Alright. Half-mast. How much do you charge? 25 rings for the night. Why not? I'll give it a shot. Human will be very happy with half-mast. Fade to black. And fade back in. I feel disappointed yet unsurprised. It was very anticlimactic. Ah, well. Alright, let's go buy some cheese. Tell me what food and drink you have. Exactly, this is a brothel. The Latin... Maybe it'll come up, you say? I see what you did there. Alright, cheese, please. We have, in fact, acquired the cheese. Excellent. Alright. See, we actually have cheese. And yet it did not stack them together. Now we have 2 cheese. So, life is pretty good. I do hope it saves... I mean, it adds +1 to finesse for 10 whole minutes. I mean, that is not something to sneeze at. Oh my character's outfit is unfortunate. I mean, the stats are there, but I feel like I made a little bit of a mistake in the fashion department. I regret my choices. You sure you don't work at this place? After one night with half-mast, my character Iron Fist just completely redid her wardrobe and mistakes were made all around. What can I say? Alright, well, after those adventures, let's see what else Lethian's Crossing has to offer. Apparently no time passed at all during our encounter with Half-Mast, unfortunately. Okay. Let's continue poking around.
See that?
Oh, I do now. What is this? This is an accessory called Frozen Burst. When critically hit, causes 18 to 28 frost damage. Holy crap. That is really good. Check out the building on the right side of the river. I will. Okay, we're gonna take this. And... yeah, we're just gonna give it to him. So it looks like we have to go up a level. Oh no, we have a bridge here. Alright, let's just run all the way down across. I suspect we got some more merchants over here to speak with as well. We have Flick, Eric, and Merchant Helena. And it looks like a discussion is going on, so we'll intervene there in a minute. Let's go loot some stuff first, though. This is one of those weird Qatar items. Just dump that in the stash, and let's run down here. With some fairly uninteresting items. The building I'm checking out, is that on the ground floor? Is that what you want me to look into? Oh, we got some stuff down here as well. Bingo is up the river on the ground floor. Okay. Okay, junk and consumables. Bring this item to a blacksmith at a Spire Forge. Upgrade to investigate it further. Okay, cool. You guys probably can't see that little thing that popped up, but it's alright. And some more good junk. Good junk, okay. Just some other unnamed NPCs. I should be out slaughtering our enemies. Grr, arg. Got some Scarlet Chorus folks doing drills, looks like, or maybe dueling. That could always be a possibility. Okay, let's go talk to the people here in these tents, or whatever you want to call them. Merchant Helena. Fine day, my friend. Might I interest you in my wares? I have all manner of goods I know you need. Okay. Oh man, we found the good armor dealer. Okay, well, before we deal with that, yeah, just dump that. Ah, the broken hilt. This is the thing we found earlier. Okay. There's a lot of stuff here. She has quite a lot of stuff. Alright, well, alright, let's see here. We gave Lantry a shield. We move that into the stash, and then Lantry... Okay, is this better than the shield you currently have? Absolutely not. Not really. I mean, more dodge, but less parry. I mean, I don't know how those stats really compare, but yeah. Okay. Anything else we want to get rid of? I know we kind of cleared out our inventory prior to this, so I think that's everything. And it looks like she wears cloth, so I don't know. Do we want any cloth upgrades? Probably not. I mean, better deflection. Oh no. Oh yeah, no. This nobleman's hat is better stats. I'm not sure it's worth it though, especially for how much it costs. Yeah, I don't know. None of this is actually doing much to excite me. Lantry, what kind of gear are you wearing? You're also wearing cloth. And again, we don't have Verse with us, so I can't really compare this stuff with what she might have, in theory, anyway. Okay, nothing interesting here. Let's see what these two are talking about. And let's save before we do that. Fatebinder, please get this chorus thug to leave me alone. What's the problem here? Flick has been demanding a discount on my wares. On top of that, he's driven away several of my regular customers. This is unacceptable. You're the one being unreasonable and unfair, after all the chorus has done for you. I'd say go to the brothel for excitement, but you know, it's true. Uh, Video games have ruined my sense of excitement, it seems. Okay, I'll adjudicate this matter. I'll adjudicate the shit out of this. Thank you, Fatebinder. I've no doubt you'll see that I'm in the right. Fatebinder gave Lethian's crossing to the chorus in the first place. She'll support us again. Alright, Theric, tell me your side. Like I said, Flick and his chorus gang want a discount on anything they buy from my store. I do that, and it'll probably drive me out of business. Are you overcharging? Ask any other merchant in town. They'll all say that my prices are quite comparable to theirs. Oh, right, like you merchants won't stick together to protect your sorry asses. Would giving chorus soldiers a discount be bad for business? Not much, but what kind of example would that set? I'm a loyal citizen, but does that mean Kairos' soldiers can tell me how to run my store? I mean, this guy is only in business because he has a license from Kairos that can be revoked and changed at any time, so... kind of? Yes? Have you given discounts to anyone else? Of course, every merchant has a favorite customer or two. He glances over at Flick. Flick isn't one of them. Flick, tell me your side of this story. The chorus works its ass off protecting Lethian's crossing, so a small discount when you're buying equipment from local merchants seems fair. Why do you need a discount? The chorus already equips you. That's a good point. Sure, but the quartermaster is slow and sends the wrong stuff sometimes. Make that a lot of the time. It's usually faster to buy what we need right here in town. Theric says you were driving away other customers. Is this true? Maybe a few, yeah, but Theric can afford it. Kind of a dick move. Can't you go somewhere cheaper? Why do you need to buy from Theric? You think I didn't already try that? Theric's stuff is what we want. It's the best. He glares at Theric, who's grinning. Yeah, that's a compliment, you bastard. Okay, apparently I'm ready to make a decision. Okay, we could say it's Theric's right to charge whatever he wants. We could say that the Scarlet Chorus are entitled to a discount so long as they don't abuse it. We can say the chorus get a small discount, but only on medicinal supplies and only up to a certain quantity. We can say neither of you are to speak to one another again. Or I can say you wasted my time with this petty squabble, which personally I'm kind of leaning towards being the actual case, but we won't choose that. Do-do-do. Only on medicinal supplies. I mean, I don't think this guy's here for medicine, right? I don't know. Yeah, let's give him a small discount. Yeah. Alright, I guess I can agree to that. Fair enough. Horace appreciates your help, Fatebinder. You gained loyalty with Ebb. That sounds fair. Ebb nods with a smile. They're getting a sensible discount in exchange for their services, and the merchant here should be thankful he's not paying recurring protection fees to these thugs. Well, man, everybody's happy. Great. That never happens in RPGs anymore. Alright. So, what do we have over here? Thank you, Den. I appreciate it. We got some beastmen. We have Tear Smasher, who we were told to speak with. We have a random beastman. Alright, well, before we talk to Tear Smasher, let's keep poking around. Actually, before we do that, let's quick save. Let's see what we got in here. Eldian. Oh, okay, he's the town elder. I don't want to talk to him yet either. So let's just run back out. This game has surprisingly long loading times for being on an SSD. An old guy ran away, yeah. He's an important NPC, and that means that if I talk to him, the plot might be advanced, and I just don't want that to happen just yet. Alright, what is in this room? Stay a while and listen. I mean, I'm all here for a big lore dump. I just, want to be ready for it. Oh, wow. Oh, hey, it's Siren. Great. Alright. I was hoping we'd run into her again. The tithe bucket is almost overflowing with items and rings for Siren. It would appear... Well, okay, I didn't finish reading that. The tithing bucket. I just auto-looted 15 rings, so... Whoops.
Can't do that.
Oh. Alright, let's say hi to Siren again. Oh, and we'll just walk through the people in church, I guess. Siren stands here, surrounded by a group of villagers. She speaks to them in soft, dulcet tones, holding them hypnotized with her hand motions. Her headdress flashes as she speaks, and you are unable to tell if it's a trick of the light or the gem in it is actually glowing. She is swept up in her oration and seems completely unaware you've arrived. There is a lull in her conversation, and she opens her eyes.
Well, look who's here. And what brings you to Lethian's Crossing? I can't imagine it's the scenery or the quaint locals. Have you come to spoil my fun?
She frowns a little, momentarily lost in thought.
Tunon probably insisted you find me, didn't he? Because we can't let Siren have any fun, can we? Let's control her. Let's tell her what she can and can't do. Let's use her to destroy nations.
As she speaks, the crowd around her appears agitated, and the air in the room grows heavy and warm. Suddenly, she smiles.
But enough of that talk. What do you think of my followers?
She makes a motion over the group gathered at her feet. As she speaks, you feel a peaceful serenity washing over you. The crowd calms, and breathing becomes easier. You think you've heard it in Borderlands? Yeah, maybe. She's, I believe we've discovered she's like a 15-year-old girl, but she can sing to, like, hypnotize and control people. She is a very interesting character so far. Okay, what do you think of my followers? Very nice, as long as you don't get it out of hand. Sure, why not?
Oh, stop that, Fatebinder. It's not like I'm hurting anyone. Well, at least not yet.
Not yet. She laughs and the feeling in the room buoys. You smile without even realizing you wanted to. Someone with your power needs help directing it, or you're just coming with me so I can keep an eye on you? I mean, I don't know. I definitely want her in my party. Alright. Someone with your power needs help directing it.
Why on earth would you want that? I can't imagine you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart. Oh, Tunon must have had a hand in this. Or Narat. Maybe I'd rather stay here where people won't insist on ordering me around all the time. Although, you did activate one of the spires, so your power is something I could learn from, and you are right. It's certainly not going to make any significant advances staying here with a bunch of nobodies worshipping me. Watching you in action could give me the edge I need to unlock a spire of my own. Fine. I will allow you the glorious gift of my presence in your party.
Heck yeah.
Well then, let's go. If you're gonna teach me the wonders of the world, it's not gonna happen here.
This is true. Man, now I have to choose who to drop. I think I'm gonna drop Lantry. Yeah, let's drop Lantry.
I will return to our holdfast at once.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Magic Party Time is tempting, but, like, I'm just scared to not have Barrick in the party to tank, you know? But I do think it could be fun to have a ridiculously overpowered, like, magic death cult running around for my party. Let's try it without Lantry first. And just see how it goes. Of course, does that mean I'm gonna miss out on his, like, passive lore bonuses? Ugh. So many tough choices. Alright, well, let's level her up first. We have 6 points to give her. Let's put 2 in there, 2 in there, and 2 in there. Seems reasonable. I can give you a hint on that. Please do. Give me a hint. Man, her portrait is kind of sad looking. If you go into any old walls, bring Lantry. Okay. Fair enough. I will do that. Alright, what kind of... Oh, okay, yeah, no. Save. Save. Good choices. Okay, so she has a bunch of songs. A song ominously describing the power of Kairos' will as it washes over life and land, reaping those that stand against it. So it's a huge debuff, it looks like. That's pretty cool. We've got Blood Brings the Dawn, a powerful battle chant to inspire victory, so this is a buff. Ebb 2, I think she grew up in the tears. Okay, cool. Scarlet Chorus to inspire their victory. This is also buffing. This is the Bane of Knight. +8 armor stolen. Frightened for 9 seconds. Conjures horrifying visions of the Bane. So she's got songs. She's got peace. A peace tree, which is interesting. And a war tree. Which is quite interesting. increases the speed of her songs. So there are stanzas to the song. So that must be what each one of these kind of means. Oh yeah, stanzas, of course. Okay, interesting. Excuse me. Alright, what do we have here? Increased dodge and parry. These are just general buffs and boosts, it seems like. Increases the range of her defensive songs. Oh, okay, and these unlock just based on level, it looks like, which is kind of cool. She can sing 2 songs at once you get her to level 13. That's pretty cool. Alright, well, let's put a point into that. Let's fracture the armor of her foes. Sure, why not? Damage prevention. Oh, whoops, sorry. Automatically gains breath at the start of combat. What does that mean? +1 starting breaths. Is that like the resource for her songs? Okay, we have 3 points left. Let's just go ahead and give her this kind of booster ability here. Never really learned how to use her. Well, yeah, I mean, I've never had a character in an RPG with abilities like this, so this will be interesting. You can make her into a tank. Okay. Increases experience. Wow. She can retain breath for several minutes. Don't understand that. Increase the range. While not wearing heavy armor, Siren is immune to engagement. Holy smokes. Well, that's crazy. She can revive enemies. Wow. She recalls a happy memory and begins to sing. The power in her voice serves to protect her and the party. Oh, it creates like a phantom, basically. Interesting. This is a lot to take in. It's pretty interesting, though. I don't see anything that mentions her taunting enemies, but there's certainly some good abilities in here. Well, maybe we'll just try to do... Well, I'm really torn on all of this stuff. You just put her in heavy armor, got it. But then she's got these amazing abilities for, like, not wearing armor. Tough choices. Maybe let's try this. And this. Okay. Slower cooldown from armor doesn't matter. Ah. Interesting. Okay. Alright, well, let's see how this goes. I love the idea of this character. Like a bard, basically, that actually has interesting abilities. What do we have here? Oh, right, we got another new sigil. Well, she's got a lot of spells. No, go away, please. Thank you. Siren, how's your lore? Your lore is not great, let's be honest. But maybe we can give her a few healing spells and buffing spells to, replace Lantry a bit. We should probably do the same for Ebb, to be honest. Okay, we want Sigil of illusions, Michael. Okay, this is our Spectral Blur. And that currently it only requires 15 lore, so that is not too bad at all. Cooldown 20 seconds. Oh, nice, we can just make that recover faster. That's pretty cool. That is too high of a lore requirement, unfortunately. But, okay, let's, actually, it's not for Ebb, though. Okay, let's give that to Ebb, because she can handle it. And then let's remove this and give it to Siren. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, and now we want to do healing. What do we have? We have single target, distant targets. Let's try that. Oh man, that's already 50 lore required, unfortunately. Maybe we can give it to Ebb, though. I think we need another healer now that Lantry's not in the party. I think that's all we can do as far as Ebb is concerned. Okay. Okay, great. I don't know if we should give Siren any offensive spells, honestly. I'm not sure it's worth it. And I'm wondering about spells for my character, actually. If we did Sigil of Force... Oh, this is a haste spell. Cool. Okay, we can't afford that yet. Well, I don't. Accuracy, I mean, I guess that would be fine. Recovery, sure, why not? And yeah, we can't do that. Okay, let's assign this here, and we will overwrite the spell that we currently have. And we'll try to remember to use that going forward. Cool. Okay, I just realized that our visit at the brothel has given us +5 subterfuge, but -1 vitality. The brood hole, as it was called, it giveth and it taketh away, it seems. So these are in effect until our next rest. I just noticed that, and I love it. I love it so much.
I would, but I can't.
Oh, Jeez.
Aye.
Okay. Well, that was worthwhile. Let's keep poking around. Got a little bit of tea left. Okay, so that's all that there is to see on this level. Let's go ahead and talk with, what's his face over here. We'll just go ahead and save it one more time and see what Tear Smasher here has to say. So, here's the Fate Finder. The man sniffs and crosses his arms, flexing his massive biceps. We don't need anyone poking their nose in things that don't concern them. This is Tear Smasher's town, and I will take care of it. I've got quotas to enforce. Whatever it is you want, make it quick. What's your status here at Lethian's Crossing? Not a single problem here. He eyes you through a narrowed gaze. Why? What have you heard? It's 2 a.m. Wolfie, thanks for hanging around, man. Have a good rest, and I will talk to you when I talk to you. Have a good one. Those bronze mercenaries have been chewing on the settlers' food, and we've had to knock a few skulls. They would make good shock troopers for the chorus. Shame they won't surrender in conscript. And what's worse, they're squatting in the old walls. He spits a wad of phlegm on the ground. At least the disfavored had the balls to meet us in open battle. How is the situation with the Bane, Ben? Hey, not my Bane and not my problem. You got the disfavored to clean up that mess, so you know as much as I do. The last thing I need is a scourge haunting my dreams. Okay, what did we choose earlier on? Drawn to the magic of the forges, the Bane attacked Lethian's Crossing at all hours of the day and night. You trusted the disfavored with the responsibility of putting down the ethereal menace. Most of the city's iron output would benefit the region, so it was their duty to take responsibility for the city's defense. Okay. Alright. So that's that. Alright, let's talk to the old guy. Okay, I'm sorry that we walked in and then immediately left earlier, but we are here to talk now. The sunburnt man dips his head in greeting. An outsider never arrives alone. At least, that is what my mother always said. Seems she knew what she was talking about. He nods thoughtfully at his own words. I'm Eldian. Welcome to Lethian's Crossing. Well, if it isn't Tunon's Fate Binder, welcome back to the Crossing. Haven't seen you around here since you put the Scarlet Chorus in charge of everything. Eldian looks you over. Must say my memory seems to be failing. Something I never thought I'd say. He winks. The way people talk about how you came through and drove the Brotherhood out of town, you should be 10 feet tall and shoot lightning from your eyes. I seem to remember you being a little more human. Can't always tell the content of a pie from its crust, though, can you? Now that I have your ear, though, I have to ask. Scarlet Chorus can be a bit heavy-handed around town. Couldn't you have chosen anyone else to be our overlords? Eldian seems like a nice guy. But enough of my prattling. You didn't come here for a history lesson or to get my opinion of your grandeur. He waves his hand dismissively at his previous comments. I see that you collected the Archon of Song. He bows slightly to Siren. You're taking her with you, yes? Nobody's collected me, old man. Siren scowls down her nose at Eldian. I am only too happy to see the last of your fetid backwater trading post. Of course, Mistress Archon. Eldian scratches the back of his head. We always treasure your presence here at the crossing. He coughs and turns his attention to you. What can this old fool do for you? Can I ask you some questions about Lethian's Crossing? If you have questions about our settlement, I'm the one to ask. I've the dubious distinction of being the oldest living resident of Lethian's Crossing, so I've been here for a lot of its history. Eldian smiles. Eyes, hips, hair, and hearing might be failing, but my mind still remembers everything that happened here. What would you like to know? I'll do my best not to go on too long about it. I know I have a problem keeping my conversations short. Okay, I'd like to ask about the crossing's history. If you have questions about the goings-on in the crossing, I'm the one to ask. I've been here for more of its history than anyone else. He smiles. What would you like to know? Who was Lethian? The biggest pain in the ass I ever knew? He turns bright red, blushing at his words, then lets out a huge guffaw. I suppose I shouldn't talk about my mother like that. She was a mediocre merchant, but a great leader. The war in the northern kingdoms cost her a very lucrative trade route up north, but she managed to earn trade stewardships from Kairos, and for a short time she had a monopoly on grain, salt, and tin here in the Tiers. What did my grandmother say? Give a blind man time and a pile of rocks, and eventually he'll hit a target. He shrugs. Not to say she didn't deserve it, but I think luck played a bigger part in her success than actual talent. But Kairos gives, and Kairos takes. The next year, Lethian was stripped of her trade rights. Suddenly she had a large staff, but no goods to trade and no means to pay anyone. But she was a stubborn one, and knew if she just kept at it, eventually things would turn around for her. She figured the trade goods would come to us. The location was good enough. It's crazy how that would happen. So she decided to concentrate on making an existing local settlement into the center of commerce for the Tiers, and by the claws of a beast, she did just that. I thought she was crazy choosing a town nestled up to the old walls, but apparently she knew what she was doing. It wasn't long after that it was renamed Lethian's Crossing. With the bridges over the old walls, this was the only place to go if you wanted to take weeks off of your trip. Eventually, she hired the Bronze Brotherhood to act as our local guards. We were big enough and had enough commerce to warrant the protection. So Lethian was your mother? Of course! How did you think I became the Reeve of the Crossing? It's certainly not my storytelling or charm. I may be the oldest living resident here, but that's certainly not a good enough reason to make someone the leader. Though, come to think of it, neither is just being the offspring of the former leader. He laughs. But, like it or not, that's how things are. My mother was a wonderful woman. She might not have been the nicest person, and she might have been over fond of medallions here or there, or there, or there, but who isn't? His face sobers. May her rest be ever free of disturbance. How did you build the old wall's bridges? Lethian was the mastermind of that. She could tie a knot with one hand, one string. I remember watching her draw systems of ropes and knots in the sand, telling me what they would do when built. I thought she was crazy. Says she got the idea for the bridges from seeing galleys pulled out of the water into dock. Apparently, the hardest part was getting the initial climbing team to brave the old walls and set the first ties. But apparently, you can pay a man enough rings for him to overcome his fear of old walls' predators. Why did you settle here? Necessity. The rope bridges let us cross the old walls. With them, it didn't matter what trade rights we had. We'd be at a crossroad to the northern Tiers, an unbeatable location. The siege of Ardent and the Bastard City ended up helping us. All those folks heading to points east crossed through our little settlement, and many of them decided to stake a claim with us. By then, Lethian discovered there was iron in our rivers. She thought it'd make us rich, but it also made us a target. The old walls don't make passage through the area easy, and our bridges cut days to weeks off of a trip. Lethian's Crossing is the best bet to get your shipment where it needs to go. Mix some other Lord of Iron ore into it, and we suddenly had a target painted on us. So what is Kairos' interest in the crossing? Iron, plain and simple. Now we have the Forgebound here, toiling away with the ore they pull from the river. We're being squeezed for our resources. If you're after a drink, better to squeeze fruit than a stone, and it would seem many people find us to be very juicy indeed. There was a merchant who tried to peddle iron rocks as magical because they came from the areas near the old walls. One of the people he sold to happened to be a disfavored courier. The courier then showed the rock to a forge-bound master who immediately recognized its potential for making superior weapons. It was brought to Kairos' attention, and soon afterward, soldiers and forge-bound came to Lethian's Crossing. They came with such force our options were to either comply with what they wanted or die. So why does the Brotherhood want Lethian's Crossing? Land? Breeding stock? They've been here longer than I have, so maybe they consider it home too. But Kairos' purse masters are no longer paying them to fight, and if a mercenary is killing for free, something's suspect. In the end, I suppose it doesn't matter. Ray Tommen will never let go. He feels he owns this town, and he aims to have it be his. Alright, what can you tell me about the Spire? There's no getting used to it. You'd think that after years of living under its shadow that your nerves would calm, but that never happened for me. You can only be so relaxed when your neighbors are the Bane. The moment you let your guard down around one of those old walls, my friend, you're done. Now, Lethian wasn't completely mad to settle here. She ventured inside and found sealed passageways that made it impossible to wander too far beyond the entrance. She figured that meant the Bane couldn't easily reach us, either. Whoever created this monstrosity wanted us to stay out, and that's exactly what we've done. It hasn't been a perfect arrangement. There have been incidents, he grimaces at the recollection, but for the most part the Bane don't venture out so long as you don't venture in. We just have to stay vigilant every day. Can I enter the old walls? Must you enter? Surely there's another... He stops himself, adopting a less confrontational tone. Nobody will stop you, Fatebinder, if that's what you mean. If you have business inside, I can only assume that it must be an important matter. The old walls are unpredictable, plain and simple. The Bane may leave you be today, but I'm not the sort to gamble when it comes to those abominations. Tell me your thoughts on the Bronze Brotherhood. They were here since the crossing was founded. Lethian herself hired them to protect the settlement when it was just getting started, a fledgling town in the shadow of the old walls. They did such a good job, she kept them on as our peacekeepers, and that's how things went. At least, until you decided to oust them and put someone else in their place. Can't say I wouldn't have done the same, truth be told. Taking pay from two employers is always going to end badly if you can't make both of them happy. On top of that, it seems lately that Ray Tommen is traveling a path no one can see, and I don't want to see what's at the end of it. Tell me what you think about the disfavored. I didn't get to spend much time with them, but I will say that they were not happy leaving the crossing in Chorus hands. Rumors about how strict the disfavored are when given an order must be true, because they left even though it was obvious they didn't want to. How have your interactions with the Scarlet Chorus been? There are days when I think we'd fare better with the Bronze Brotherhood holding our throats. For a long moment, he stares at you, formulating his words. I know better than to speak out of turn on the matters of the voices and the chorus. Eldian's face flushes when he shakes his head. That's all I will say. There's danger of saying too much. I serve Tunon, not the voices. Your comments will not be used against you. I don't wish to endanger anyone is all, but... Eldian scans in both directions, his voice barely rising above a whisper. The Scarlet Chorus is a blight upon us. My niece, my nephew, and a score of our best farmhands were forcibly conscripted into that sickening mob. Soon we'll all be part of the swarm, and there will be no one in the village to protect. Okay. Interesting that we have that context, and I'm curious what would have happened if we had Verse in the party when he said that, because I think we know she's spying for us, or on us, for the voices. So, with her not there, maybe we've closed off a path in this game, I don't know. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need directions around here. Eldian laughs and puts a hand on your shoulder. I completely understand. The crossing can be a bit intimidating the first time someone arrives, but it's not as complicated as it looks. The river is named Portiscore, and it flows down the middle of the settlement. The waterfalls pouring over the old walls are Sunrise and Moonrise. The west waterfall is Sunrise because of how the sun hits it in the morning, and Moonrise got its name due to how it glows during a full moon. The crossing itself is broken up into districts named after the waterfalls. The west side of the river is the Sunrise District, and the east side of the river is the Moonrise District. The different levels of Lethian's Crossing don't really have names, but most people refer to them as the tiers. My home is considered part of the ground tier. The forge is on the first tier, both in Moonrise District. Okay. Well, I will be on my way. Alright. So that is a lot of conversations and a lot of lore dumps, in a way. I think I'm gonna take a quick break, get some more water, and I will be back in a few minutes. Let me save here, just in case, and yeah, I'll be right back, so don't go anywhere. Alright. Back. So I think the next step is to go to the next level of the city and go meet everybody. Got a water bottle. So I am good to go. Okay, just some random consumables, and yeah, let's just keep wandering around here.
Interesting.
Oh. We have a whetstone and a potion of invisibility. Interesting. I don't know if I've encountered one of those yet. Let's let's go see what's in there. Oh, some good stuff. And let's see what's through this door. This is a rather dilapidated looking house, it seems. Phaedra and Dea. Let's save and then see what their deal is. A bright-faced woman greets you as you approach. Welcome to Lethian's Crossing, Wanderer. My name is Phaedra, and this is my beautiful wife, Dea. She indicates the stone-faced blonde woman standing next to her, who holds up her hand in a quick greeting. What brings you to town? Is there anything I can help you with? What can you tell me about Lethian's Crossing? I've lived here most of my life, but honestly, I'm not sure there's much to say. She looks contemplative. We're a center for trade and a waypoint for travelers. The walls are a little scary, but you get used to them over time. She looks at Dea. What about you, dear? Dea shrugs, her expression never changing. What is there to say? The town is alright, but living under the thumb of an occupying force makes it hard to truly relax. Phaedra puts her hand on Dea's shoulder and Dea sighs. Sorry, we couldn't be more help, Phaedra shrugs sheepishly. You haven't always lived here? Several years before Kairos' invasion, I moved away from Lethian's Crossing. Being the granddaughter of Lethian came with a responsibility I wasn't ready for. I met Dea in the Bastard City and decided to stay for a while. So I wonder if she is Eldian's daughter, perhaps? We were living in the Bastard City when we heard about Kairos' forces moving to the Tiers, so we took that as our motivation to move. She laughs, and I think we got out of there at just the right time. We traveled a bit with a couple of caravans, but nothing really seemed like home until I returned to Lethian's Crossing. You never realize how much you can miss a place until you've been away for a while. She wraps her arms around Dea and squeezes. But I can live anywhere as long as this one is with me. It's true that trade hasn't been as vibrant here recently, but I'm sure it's simply a temporary setback. The merchants will sing and dance for you, trying to convince you their suppliers are unaffected, but everyone is feeling it. I have faith the world will set itself right soon enough. People call me a fool, but I don't see the benefit in bemoaning your fate. You take what life hands you and make it work. So you're Lethian's granddaughter. One of many, I suspect, but I'm the only one anyone knows about. And before you ask, no, Eldian is not my father. Maybe you haven't heard, but my grandmother wasn't exactly the settling down type. Okay, what's it like having the Scarlet Chorus here? I avoid them if at all possible. Phaedra's face sours when you mention them. They are particularly brutal, and everything sets them off. I would be much happier with someone else in charge. Except the Brotherhood, Dea adds. I would rather twist under a scarlet boot for the rest of my life than have to look at a single member of the Brotherhood again. Interesting, I wonder why she feels that way. Okay, well, we're gonna take your stuff, I'm sorry.
Let me try. Looks simple enough.
love all of this politicking type stuff. Seeing how people feel about the different factions and navigating between them. Fallout New Vegas had a bunch of that, but it felt a little more obviously gamey to me. But this feels a lot more natural, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Oh, right. Okay, looks like we have another conversation going on here, so let's see what the deal is here. So, a woman named Xenia. Oh, good. Now that a Fate Binder's here, maybe I can get an ounce of satisfaction. What seems to be the problem? I caught this thief pawing through my wares, but this chorus rat won't let me report her. By all rights, she should be in chains, not conscripted into some gang. What if she comes back and decides to shake down my business, this time with the law on her side? I can't stand by and let that happen. Rubbish. My gang needs recruits, especially ones who are quick with their hands. We'll use little Windhaver here to pick locks, pry apart traps, and, well, let's just say nothing's off the table. Chances are good she'll lose some fingers before the fortnight is over anyhow. Okay. We have 3 different options for saying we'll help you. I'll hear both sides of the story, but understand that my word on the matter is law. Okay. If it gets the attention of the court, I don't see how I could refuse. Have on, Fatebinder. I'll accept your word on the matter. Okay, what did Windhaver steal? Forge-bound weapons and supplies. My things started to go missing weeks ago, but today I got wind that the little wretch had tried to fence my goods to another honest merchant. There's no telling how much she pocketed away or handed off elsewhere. Why didn't you report the suspicion of theft sooner? I wanted to be sure before I wasted anyone's time with baseless accusations. Until I caught her in the act, there was always a chance, a doubt in my mind, that a colleague was borrowing supplies and I had imagined the whole thing. That'll show me, huh? It's a sorry day when I'm punished for respecting due process. She stole forge-bound weapons? That's a pretty serious thing, or at least we've been led to believe. Not hammers or axes, she isn't that good. Little things here and there, daggers, iron scrap, and the like. Okay, what makes you think Windhaver would make a good conscript? Full honesty? I've been watching the little thief stealing from the forge-bound for weeks. I always had my eye on her for conscription. Call this a test, and she passed it. Halfscar nods with pride. Keen for a common settler, this one. Scarlet Fury material. Why didn't you stop Windhaver when you discovered her crime? Like I said, I wanted to see how capable she was, and if she could keep up the momentum. Did pretty well for an inexperienced little shit, didn't you, Win? She aims a hard jab at the potential recruit. Ow, she nurses her arm. Thank you? I figured if she was as good at her work as she seemed, we could assign her to a gang right away. As it happens, I was on my way to make an offer, but Xenia got to her first. Do you make a habit of conscripting thieves? We make a habit of conscripting survivors, and someone who knows how to steal for their livelihood is a valued addition to any gang. We don't always need thieves, but we always need survivors. To Windhaver, why were you stealing from the forge-bound? She aims a hard glare at you, but it evens out with apprehension. I lost everything in the conquest of Haven. Family, friends, home, all that I ever was got trampled by one army then another. Stealing was the only way to survive, and stealing from the forge-bound, well, you can call that justice if you want. Fool, the items you stole were worth 10 times what you tried to sell them for. Just because I'm a settler doesn't make me a savvy merchant. I needed to eat, not turn a profit. Windhaver shakes her head. Selling forge-bound goods for cheap also made people less likely to turn me in. I guess you could call that a professional move. Did you ever sell to the Scarlet Chorus? Well, sure. I even sold to Halfscar once or twice. The Chorus aren't what you'd call disciplined. You bought our goods even though you knew they were stolen? Xenia looks at Halfscar. For research purposes only. I had to inspect the goods to confirm that Windhaver was filching from the forge-bound. Have you ever tried to get an honest job, Windhaver? Yeah, once, with her. She points at Xenia. I told her I was willing to do any menial task, but the hag turned me away without any consideration. And produced a most competent and desperate new recruit for my gang. Thank you, Xenia. Half-Scar offers a mockery of a bow. Shut up, Scar. I admit that I didn't think Windhaver would be able to keep up with the workload, so I told her to move on. That's no invitation to steal from me, so I don't see how it's relevant. Alright, I've heard enough. I don't know which is worse, losing a hand to the town guard or getting tossed into the front lines. Either way, I suppose I'm at your mercy. Windhaver looks at you with a desperate plea. These are a lot of options. Okay, so let's just read them in order here. In accordance with the laws of Kairos, Windhaver will face punishment for stealing from the Forge-bound. So that's one. Number two, Windhaver will join Half-Scar's gang to be trained as a Scarlet Fury. Xenia, as punishment for putting Windhaver into this impossible situation, I sentence you to a season of manual labor for the Forge-bound. Interesting. Half-Scar, for buying stolen goods and failing to turn in a thief, you must renounce your title and join the bottom ranks. Wow. Windhaver will perform menial labor to the Forge-bound until she works off her debt, and then she will go to Half-Scar for training. You are all at fault for this mess, and all of you are banished. Each of you shares some fault, so none will be punished. You will have no dealings with each other from this point on. Is that understood? Hmm. The last choice is actually the most appealing to me. I'm trying to decide if there's like a role-playing reason to choose something different. What would Tunon do? I don't really know him well enough to know for sure. He seems committed to true justice. I mean, is Xenia the true cause of this? Um, is that justice? Hmm. Maybe she is. I'm leaning towards that. I'm leaning towards sentencing Xenia to a season of manual labor for the Forge-bound. She hadn't been so flippant about it. Maybe none of this would have happened. Let's do that. Let's do that. Xenia, I'm sorry. You seem like a reasonable person, but we're going to put this on you. You gained wrath with the Forge-bound and favor with the Scarlet Chorus. Did not realize the Forge-bound were a faction with which I would gain favor and wrath. Okay, ha! Now that's Fatebinder justice for you. If you don't mind, I'll just take my new recruit and see if I can find a mess in the forges for Xenia to clean up. Okay, well... Oh, we just unlocked an achievement. I am the law. What is that? Paradox achievements. Let's see here. I assume this is just adjudicated a bunch of side quests, basically. So many. Become a seasoned adjudicator. Okay. Alright, let's continue on. We have a guy named Biotis. Welcome, friend, the merchant cries out to you, his belt jingling with rings. He waves his arms about in a dramatic presentation of his wares. What brings you to my humble trading post? Have a certain something in mind or just browsing? Just show me what you got, buddy. We have an exquisite iron javelin. Which, huh. I don't know. It's not, well, it looks like I can't afford it anyway, so. Forge-bound apprentice armor. What is this? This is heavy armor. Okay. Sigil of volcanic weapon. Ooh. Alright, well, we want that. We'll take that. And let's go ahead and sell all this stuff too. Got this kind of junk. Okay, yeah. What do we have? Let's see, we've got this hammer. I wondered if that would be a good one for Barrack here, but I'm thinking that's not the case. Yeah. Okay. Just sell all this stuff, and we are actually earning some gold after this trade. Cool. So the one that we just learned here is where did it go? Well, apparently it doesn't apply to this one. Or I'm missing something. Ah, okay, yes, alright. So, okay, this is a Vigor spell, so a buffing spell. And if we apply a Sigil of Volcanic Weapon, it causes material force spells to damage foes in a line. But apparently, that doesn't apply here. Definitely feel like I'm missing something. Alright, well, we'll ignore that for now since I'm not understanding that. Alright, let's go into the store, see what there is. Oh, cool. This is an actual forge, looks like. We have Ulantis, Master of Casting, and Lohara, Master of Tempering. These are iron weapons ready to be prepared, and here is, it's hot, don't touch it. Excellent. Good advice. This is newly made, forge-bound armor.
Nothing I can't handle.
Oh, these are plans on how to forge the mythical blade known as Headhunter. Awesome.
There. My larcenous deed for the day is now complete.
Excellent. And we have a forge-bound hammer. Alright, let's talk to Ulantis, Master of Casting. Ulantis surveys the room with an air of superiority. He addresses you without making eye contact. Is there something you want? Is there a problem? His eyes carefully watch Lohara as he answers you. Yes, but these are forge-bound matters. Nothing that concerns the High Court of Tunon, I can assure you. What do you do here in the forge? I keep things running smoothly. Upkeep, mostly. He smiles coyly. I'm also second in command to Lahara, so in case anything ever happens to her, I'm here to take charge. Okay. A muscular woman stands upright from her forge and turns to look at you, the light of the fire playing across her face, making her eyes dance dangerously. A toothy smile breaks across her mouth, the only bright spot on her soot-stained face. Do you kill with your left hand or your right? She rubs blackened palms together, eyeing you expectantly. Normally I can tell at a glance, but you are a little harder to read. Let's just say right. Noted. She clears her throat and wipes her blackened hands on the canvas of her smock. I am Lahara, Master of Tempering and Forge Master of Lethian's Crossing. My tasks exceed the hours left in the day, but there is no harm in pausing my work if it means speaking with the Fatebinder. How may I be of assistance? Why did you want to know if I kill with my right or left hand? The gauntlet is the hardest piece of the panoply and the most rewarding to work. So many scales of so many different sizes. Then there's the rivets. She slides her thumb and fingers together, shedding flecks of soot and iron dust. I imagine you see a lot of battle in your line of work. One gauntlet is invariably going to wear out before the other. My mind is always thinking on what will need repairs first. It's as simple as that. Okay, tell me about Lethian's Crossing. I don't see much of it, only this. She points to the roof and walls of the forge. Lethian and her merchant crew settled this area a while back. The brave fools built bridges over the old walls and made themselves a crossroads trading post. Real pioneer spirit stuff. The whole place might have been ignored by Kairos' forces, except somebody discovered there's iron everywhere. Can't wash your clothes in the river without them coming out rust-tinged. So the iron made Lethian's Crossing important enough for Kairos to want it for himself. It made good sense to move some of us forge-bound here to Lethian's Crossing. Easier to put us near the iron instead of shipping it over mountains. That, and this is a crossroads, we can resupply our allies faster than ever from our new workshop. Okay, tell me about the forge-bound. For centuries, my guild has sought the union of magical and manual perfection. While others concern themselves with the arcane for the sake of inordinate power, we study it to overcome the traditional limits of our arts and crafts. The forge is our dominant concentration of study, but not all forge-bound work metal. Some are weavers, carpenters, and one of our odder members fancies himself a chef. The wise and mighty Kairos has been kind to our guild. He offered to put our weapons and armor in the hands of those who would change the world. A broad smile overcomes her face, and he has been true to his word. Forge-bound iron has trampled the tears, and all that oppose Kairos' forces rest their heads on forge-bound spears. What can you tell me about the forge-bound master? Zedenia is the best leader I've ever had the pleasure of working under. She guides the forge-bound with a steady yet stern hand, guaranteeing all of our work is of the utmost quality and peerless in every regard. I am Zedenia's second, which is why I am the forge master for Lethian's Crossing. She points at Ulantis. He is my second, should anything happen to me. I haven't worked with him long, so I don't know much about him or the true long-lasting quality of his work. But he was appointed by Zedenia, so he must be good at what he does. Can you make me something magical? No, she smiles and shakes her head, but almost everyone asks. Relics of arcane power must grow into themselves. They are never made from nothing. She points her finger in the air and smiles. But what I can do is use my magic to swing my hammer with perfect precision, or work a cantrip to handle molten metal with my bare hands. That's awesome. Like, magic for just like perfect precision at whatever you set your mind to. That's kind of amazing, actually. If I could use magic to make myself like better with a knife in the kitchen chopping vegetables and stuff, I would totally do that. We can build artifacts of exceeding quality and refinement, but they must be used in great deeds to grow into relics of power. And that is why we seek to put the works of our forges into the hands of the greats. True legends require the alliance of swordmaker and swordmaster. Why make weapons if you could kill your foes with magic? Why walk if you could pay porters to carry you? She shakes her head with a huff. We have ways to protect ourselves from those who would abuse us, but we study the arcane for purposes of building, not destroying. We leave that to others. They can take our implements and use them to sow chaos if they choose. I would rather take chaos and force order on it. So how exactly does your magic help you make things? Our most important rituals bind the crafter, tools, and materials into one entity? She cracks a nervous smile. Close enough. In my own work, the forge bind draws the whole of my senses to the edge of the blade I'm tempering. I can see the tiniest notch, or touch my finger to the blade and feel the razor sharpness without breaking my skin. Such perfect execution of art has its costs, of course. Once heart and lungs become linked to flame and hammer, a dropped hammer could lead to a stopped heart. Interesting. Most of our members die in the throes of their work, killed by a distraction or simple error. She blushes. We lose a lot of apprentices. Again, this game just really impresses me with the lore and how much work they put into it. I love it. This is such an interesting world. Let's speak of something else. Tell me about the Scarlet Chorus. My master had a saying that the Scarlet Chorus always brings to mind. Good iron is for swords, not nails. Good minds are for thinkers, not warriors. Lahara shakes her head, scowling. Kairos is wise and must see something in the voices of Nerat that I do not. We are sworn to Kairos and thus allies of the chorus. I should not speak out of turn. Can you make something for me? Can? She lifts an eyebrow. Most certainly. Will? Well, Kairos invented cues for a reason. She lets slip a sigh. I have every Ironwalker and every Scarlet Chorus ringleader sending me bribes and flattery in hopes that I'll work off schedule and make them some special this or one of a kind that. Her mouth moves as if to speak, but she falls silent, folding her arms. I did not realize the request was so thoughtless. My apologies. I will pay you very, very well. Forget I asked. Let's just do number one. I get unreasonable demands every day, but it's not the volume, it's the purpose. She lowers her voice to a near whisper and steps closer to you. I do resent that Kairos' demands reduce our work to mere quotas. I should be allowed to customize my work for every soldier. Only apprentices have anything to learn from making the same size helmet again and again. Alright, forget I asked. Are you well? You look weary. Ecstatic. Her voice is matter of fact and a smile creeps in. The ritual of the forge links hammer to heart to hammer. My blood beats only when I strike my ingot. My forge runs too hot if my breath becomes too hurried. The bond is both fatiguing and exhilarating. Couldn't that kill you? I should hope so. She laughs, her face blushing the color of molten metal. Better than being defiled and killed by brigands, poisoned by grain rot, or slain by childbirth. Would not a soldier wish to die in battle? Is that how you excel at your craft? Well, that and practice, she scowls. But yes, the rituals link the senses to the materials and the body to the tools. My hand becomes a joint, the hammer the true end of my arm. I feel the heat of the forge as if it were the weather of the room. Under such circumstances, true focus can emerge. Okay. So that is that. Got another thing to loot, it seems. Okay. Cool. Let's head on out. Must be something about this city that just increases the load times compared to everywhere else, because they have not been this bad until this city. Alright, let's run in here, see what there is to see.
Curious.
Uh-oh. So we have some unnamed settlers in here, and we have a Raven Shawl of Rogues. Interesting. +10 subterfuge. This would be a great accessory for Verse, I think. Maybe, Just wondering what, wait, where is subterfuge? Oh, here we go. Okay, we'll just give this to Siren. She doesn't have much in the way of accessories, so may as well. The back wall of this home has long since crumbled away, revealing the old walls behind it. Interesting. Alright. Let's talk to this horde person over here. Piss off. Alright, well. Fair enough. This looks like the entrance to the tower, so we will hold off on that for now. Let's go unlock this item. Alright, what's in here? Okay, these NPCs actually have names, so they might have something interesting to say. Okay, Kalea. Sorry, I'm not interested in whatever you're selling. If you want to talk to someone, talk to my brother. Okay? Greetings, Sweetfinder. Alright, well. Shows what I know. I suspect they'll be important for a quest later, or I don't know, something. Is suddenly a lot fewer people and things to interact with. Which is not the end of the world, just there was a pretty high density of things before this, so just caught off guard. Okay, that's as far left as we can go. Looks like we're going to the next level.
Curious.
Well, I think we might have exhausted all of our possibilities here. Let's check down here. Guess I missed this. Okay. Alright, so that means now we can go visit the tower. As far as UI and user experience goes, I like that it lets you move the camera like through the entirety of the map and interact with stuff, even if your party's not actually next to it. Okay, well this sure looks like a dungeon-ass dungeon, so let's go ahead and save. And I guess we'll see how our new party composition works out. Oh, these are disfavored. Right, because the disfavored were sent to clear out the Bane. From what I recall, there's an eerie glow of unknown origin coming from the depths of this pit. Blood moss and a disfavored bracer. Okay.
Huh, look at that.
A lot of good stuff. I'm gonna spam the save button here, I think. Music here is wonderfully ominous. Okay, so that leads to another room, so let's not go there just yet. Got some more bodies and things to see. The door creates a near-perfect seal with the surrounding walls. Along its surface, you see several chips and shallow gouges from failed attempts to force it open. There is nothing to interact with on its panels, and you surmise that it was never meant to be opened from this side. Okay, more shields. Yeah, no. Ignore that. Got a random helmet. Actually, let's move this in here, and yeah, that there as well. These floor stones have been broken recently. Bits of metal nearby would suggest it's the result of careless soldiers. Chalcedony, nice.
That wasn't so hard.
Alright, we're gonna quick save and then click on this little hand icon and see what happens. Take a charcoal rubbing. Make a charcoal rubbing of the relief's shape to help discern the rune's design. This sunken relief, though heavily damaged, is clearly meant to depict a runic symbol similar to the one you saw at Ascension Hall. The relief is incomplete, and thus the final form of the rune is unknown. Pressing charcoal to parchment, you capture a blurry but proportionate image of the ancient relief. With enough collected imprints, it may be possible to reconstruct the original shape of the rune. Okay. Quest updated. Examine the mysterious rubbing. quest item? Or where did this go? I feel like I'm missing something. Okay, I don't know where that went or what exactly I'm intended to do with it. Perhaps examining the rubbing further would help you determine its importance. So I can't click on this anymore. Well, that sure is confusing. Alright, well, let's just keep exploring for now. Some creepy sounds, gotta say. That is ominous as hell. Alright, we just saved, so let's go to the next section.
Can you feel it? There's power here. We should explore.
Alright, find a way to ascend to the top of the Sunset Spire. Surely there's going to be a boss fight of some kind, right? This chamber immediately reminds you of Ascension Hall. An intricate rune running along the floor can only mean one thing. You stand at the feet of a great spire. Each step you take echoes across a great distance. As you gaze upward, the sage-colored walls quickly give way to unending blackness. The rune in the center of the floor is inactive, and the silence of the hall offers no clues as to its use or function. You feel a slight tug in your chest, a faint echo of the energy that enveloped you at Vendrian's Well. Ah. These screws in the floor are inlaid with a dim incandescent material that glimmers upon closer inspection. They appear to intersect at various angles, forming a myriad of potential shapes similar to the rubbing you found. Cool.
Study carefully the glyphs. They're gibberish to me, but I know magic when I see it.
Oh, hey, wait, we wanted, what's his name with us? Lantry. What do we have here? Interesting rune. This sunken relief, though heavily damaged, is clearly meant to depict the runic symbol, similar to the one you saw at Ascension Hall. The relief is incomplete, and thus the final form of the rune is unknown. Okay, let's take another rubbing. Pressing charcoal to parchment, you capture a blurry but proportionate image of the ancient relief. Though the drawn rune remains incomplete, it seems likely that the completed design is symmetrical in nature. Should the need arise, you can reasonably guess its original shape. Interesting. Okay, so perhaps I need to be looking in the Spire menu. Would that be the case? Okay, well, don't know what I'm missing here. I mean, obviously I need to like make a symbol based on the rune drawings that we're finding, but I'm just not understanding. Yeah, I mean, surely I just need to click on these and make the appropriate shape, but yeah. Alright, let's leave. What I think I'm gonna do is bring Lantry back into the party. It sucks that I believe I'm gonna have to go into all the way back to Vendrian's Well to do that, though. Just want to make sure I haven't overlooked any means of swapping my party out before I go all the way back to where we came from. Alright, well, that is too bad. Okay. Mountain Spire. And yeah, I guess we want to go to the very top, because that's where our party is. This tower looks so cool, though. This also has very strong 90s game CGI energy, which I am a huge fan of. Okay, Lantry, where are you, buddy?
One moment, my friend. Just let me finish this thought.
Alright, add Lantry to the party.
I can sober up on the road. Ready to go.
Alright, let's
Be seeing you, Fatebinder.
remove Barrack and add Lantry. To the right of the road, a broad basin opens, the tall grass shifting quietly in the light breeze like the waves on the open sea. A silver ribbon of stream winds across the panorama, and you make out a small group gathered on the water's edge. Let's approach the group. Spying your approach, the Snigglers snatch up their baskets and poles and scatter, folding in two groups, each following the river in opposite directions. Their shouts and laughter ride the wind to you. Let's pursue upriver. You give chase, crashing through the tall grass after the Haven youth. Despite their head start, you rapidly catch up with the youngsters, grasping one by the collar and another by the wrist. They squirm, trying to break free, but you hold them fast. We can conscript the children, holy shit. We can interrogate them, or we can buy the eels. Let's buy the eels. Once they've calmed, you release the pair before offering them rings in exchange for their catch. At first, they look to one another, clearly skeptical and mistrustful, but their desire for copper overturns their suspicions. The bounty you proffer for the eels they've caught is more than fair. They add the rings to their belt and surrender their basket of snakes. As they take up their poles and make their retreat, you return to the road to continue your journey. We are now well fed. Nice. Well, that was wholesome. Okay, Landry, reveal to us the secrets.
One moment, my friend. I am nothing if not a semi-reliable font of knowledge.
So they
What did you want to discuss?
So they say sages know all sorts of things.
I know everything, except for who's been saying that. What's on your mind?
I know anything about the Bane? A shame Sage Clovenclaws was reduced to a pile of ash. Man knew all that's been written on the subject. Most of what we know is summed up in the name. The full term for them is Mage Bane, and there's a good reason for it. They'll prey on anything that moves, but they'll show favoritism toward magically active humans. Yikes. Tell me about wisps. Wisps are largely inconsequential by themselves, hardly the menace most associate with the Bane, but these glowing little creatures often follow in the wake of scourges or other larger Bane, and that can make them a real danger. What do you know of the scourges? Writhing masses of sharpened limbs and quiet as a shadow. Scourges are the most frequently observed type of Bane. Not sure if they're the most numerous or just the most likely to attack. What can you tell me of the Havocs? Havocs are notable for being territorial. By all accounts, they stick to chosen locations and lurk. If you see one, common wisdom is to run. It'll give up chase eventually when you find the edge of its home. Do you know anything about the Malices? So we have not encountered a single one of these creatures, by the way. Most troublesome of the Mage Bane are the Malices. Though I've never experienced it, I'm told a Malice can take hold of your waking self, leave you trapped in a dream while it puppets you. If evidence of these creatures didn't predate Kairos, I'd think the Overlord the only creature powerful and cruel enough to breed the Malice. Yikes. You know where they came from. They seem to breed in the old walls, or at least that is where they exist in the highest concentration, but there seems to be no social interaction amongst the Bane, and no logical mechanism of, grinding their privates to make little Banes. Alright.
I know everything, except for who's been saying that.
Alright. Let's go back to the hallway, see if he finds anything else.
Can't do that.
Maybe I'm just supposed to remember what's on here, which is kind of crazy. I mean, maybe I will literally draw myself a picture. It's pretty tiny, I gotta say, but let's see what I can do here. So it looks looks like it curves up from the bottom, and then it makes like a weird W thing. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit here. Like this. Like that. That looks like it fits. I hope these are actually unique. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if this will work. Yeah, that looks pretty close to what I drew. Well, hell, let's just try it. Maybe, alright, let's move everybody here, and then we'll just choose our wonderful person. Let's see if we can do this. Can we do this? Let's do this. No, that doesn't seem right either. I'm staring down at my drawing, trying to see if I can make this fit somehow. I mean, I don't think I'm doing this right, but... Alright, 1 and 2. Perhaps examining the rubbing further might help you determine its importance. But how? Oh, wait. Would that be in here somewhere? No, no, I feel extremely dumb right now. Like, how do I examine the rubbing to get more info? Like, what am I missing here? we are gonna go to Google. Because I don't know what else it could possibly be. Tyranny, game, examine, rubbing. Consult the partial charcoal rubbing in your quest item inventory. Quest item inventory. There's other. We've got other. Whoops, I don't know what I just did there. Spire, consumables, armor, quest items. God damn it. Okay. Alright, alright. Here we go. Okay. Incomplete charcoal rubbing, Sunset Spire. A portion of an unknown sigil has been recorded on this scroll. The charcoal imprint is rough and incomplete, leaving the full design a mystery for now. Well, this seems like we've gotten a pretty good impression of it, and we can helpfully leave it up while we are fiddling around with this. So, let's see here. I'm thinking we do this and this. Okay. Is that it? Oh, okay. And then I think we want to do this, 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 and this, this, and this, then this, and this. Ah, success. All right. Let's do it. Oh wait, no.
On it.
We want everybody. We want everybody. Awesome. Cool. 2 down and an unknown number to go. Seems like. The arcane light courses skyward, trailing off toward the horizon in the direction of Vendrian's Well. You feel the ground ripped out from beneath you yet again as you drift back into the warmth of the energy surrounding you. Your awareness stretches beyond the limits of this spire, pulling in many directions at once. The light you saw arcing toward the sky reminds you of the tether you feel to the top of Vendrian's Well. This too is a point of connection, and you are an inextricable part of it, bound as surely as the spires are to each other. The Sunset Spire in Lethian's Crossing feels burdened by its age, as if a central linchpin somewhere in its core has weathered the centuries of oppressive weight and longs to topple. The surge of energy that courses through you, forming a link with Vendrian's Well, strengthens the very stones beneath your feet. The structural weakness you detected vanishes, replaced by confidence that could keep this tower standing for millennia. That is a really cool description. See there, due south is Ardent, where I was born. And then over to the right of that is where the Academy of Tides used to stand. Oh, and you can see that little island off of Barris and Chains. That's where Hagravar would take me to practice our more dangerous spells. My childhood is seen from above. This is surreal. And tell me where you're writing from. Lantry speaks aloud as he pens a missive. And how to reach you, and I will send you an iron ring for your troubles. He signs his name with a flourish, and then tosses the parchment into the wind. In the blink of an eye, the heavy currents carry the slip of parchment eastward. I had this idea of a message in a bottle without the bottle. Maybe it'll work? Who knew that all this was up here while I sat below, wasting my time trying to gather a group of followers from the refugees in Lethian's crossing? The untapped power in this spire is astounding. I must find out how to get some. The spire feels like a relay between you and Vendrian's Well, bridging some of the transference of energy on an enormous scale. You are the first link of a chain that stretches the length of the realm. As you struggle to understand this sensation, you grow aware of whispers all around you. We're going to listen closer, all right. The whispers themselves seem to travel down the tether between you and your spires, conducting heat that feels at times unbearable. They speak of your actions, your choices, everything that led you to this place. Your name is known, your banner recognized, your deeds reported across the tiers and the Northern Empire alike. For an instant, you can see the accumulated hope and fear these whispers represent. It appears like dewdrops settling on a leaf, then trickling into a shared basin. This image is fed to you through your connection, a base metaphor that only hints at the true scope. There is power in these spires, though its source is unfamiliar. Were you to harness it, you suspect that nothing would stand beyond your reach. Unlocking this spire seems to have opened some deeper connection. On the moments my staff and I are separated, part of its magic goes dormant until I'm once again near. The same dynamic is happening with you and the spires. They've adopted you, I guess? They certainly like you enough not to kick you out of bed. Curious, I'm noting something I also observed at the spire in Vendrian's Well. There's a mystic hum, and it has little beats when you walk, tiny fluctuations when you talk. Unless my senses are deceiving me, you and the spires are almost mystically attuned to each other. Most fascinating indeed. A quill pen appears in his hand, and the old sage begins furiously jotting notes on his arm. I feel it too. The air is thick up here, isn't it? Exactly the opposite of what you'd expect. The magic up here is almost a physical presence. Your power has increased. You acquired Sunset Spire. Cool. Have all kinds of upgrades. I don't know what these do. New quest, claim the remaining spires in the tiers. Okay. Well, okay, what does a library give me? Constructing a library on a spire allows you to research magical knowledge, edicts, and artifacts. Once built, resting in any spire grants a bonus to lore and all magic skills. Getting a call on my phone. Let me see here. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Once built, resting in any spire grants a bonus to lore and all magic skills. Well, that's cool. We could do a training grounds, which looks like it gives you a bonus to physical skills. A forge allows you to improve weapons and armor and forge powerful new items. So we've acquired some plans and stuff, so it would be cool to be able to implement those items. And then an infirmary, which allows you to brew potions and other consumables. Resting will grant a bonus to endurance, will, and magic defenses. Cool. I gotta go with the lore. I have to. Alright. This action cannot be cancelled. Okay. Holy smokes. All spires... Okay, you have acquired a second spire. All spires are linked, allowing you to travel instantly between them. This will reduce your travel time through the tiers. You can upgrade spires you discover, building new structures on top of them. Each upgrade will provide you with different benefits. Upgrades take time and money to build and money to maintain. If you no longer have the money to maintain an upgrade, it will be suspended and you will no longer receive its benefits. Okay. There are 5 resources you can find that can be used to power upgrades. Okay. It's a cool library. Who is this? Sage Garrus. Spire worker. And Barrack is now hanging out here as well. So I assume that if you go to any spire, you can talk to your other party members, which is pretty cool. Looks like we leveled up. I think, what do we want to do here? Let's boost our ability cooldowns. And now we can agonize over our ability upgrades. Let's see here. We can keep boosting our thrust ability. We can give ourselves an additional spell slot. This grants spell slots to everybody in the party, which would certainly be more bang for our buck as far as spells go. I would really... oh, there we go. Okay. Alright, I don't think the Abundant Arms one will be useful for us. Resurgence. Point to a fallen ally and command them to rejoin the fight. And it sounds like a revive ability to me. Everyone in the party regains a portion of their maximum health when any party member kills an enemy. I mean, well, okay. 5%, which isn't, I mean, amazing, but still not nothing. I love these leadership abilities. If it just passively makes the game easier, I'm all for it. Alright, yeah, let's do Killing Rush. That sounds fun. Okay, Journal. Seat of Power claimed the remaining spires in the tiers. So, we have claimed 2. The 2 you have claimed have proven to be a valuable asset to the war effort. Claiming the rest should help you widen your conquest. Perhaps by doing so, you will uncover more of the mystery behind their power and why you have such an affinity to them. Heck, yeah. So in 2 days, I see. Sorry, in 5 days, I will need to pay this amount of money to keep the library up, which right now we have more than enough. It's not even a problem. We can also hire more recruits and trainers and stuff, which is pretty cool. Nice. Regularly provides scrolls to further research. That's pretty tempting. I love these magic spells. So maybe we'll do that. And if I'm understanding this right, the library was a one-time choice, or I should say, we chose the library at the expense of the other options, is what this looks like to me. I suspected that would be the case, it just wasn't completely clear to me. We have new items since the last visit to the Mountain Spire, and we are at Sunset Spire right now. Okay. We also have a new missive. We have a new email from Fatebinder Rogalis. On the subject of the spires, dear Iron Fist, court is all abuzz with the news of the Civil War. Representatives from the chorus and the disfavored are having little shouting matches in front of Tunon. The petitioners to the court seem swept up in talks of who will crush whom, and if and when Tunon will bring down the gavel and stop the fighting. What has me more intrigued is the other story out of Vendrian's Well. Tunon sends you on what I thought was going to be a one-way trip to the well, and not only do you live, you somehow claimed the mountain spire. And you broke Kairos' edict, too. Such things make a little civil war seem so trivial in comparison, at least to those who can separate the message from the noise. Tell me, what was it like to break the edict, and how is it you took control of the spire? I'm not sure how to respond to this. I don't remember which of the Fatebinders in the Bastard City was Rogalis. We could be truthful, we could just ask our own questions, we could just play it down. Okay, here's the response for being clear. Dear Rogalis, Kairos' edict simply said that an agent of the Overlord must claim Ascension Hall before Kairos' Day of Swords. The only thing I consciously did was take charge of the battle to claim Ascension Hall. My claiming of the spire happened just moments after I felt the edict's grip release. The floor of Ascension Hall gave way, unearthing a glowing pattern buried beneath the chamber floor. Kairos only knows how long it's been buried under the tile. As for how I actually claimed the spire, it is perhaps a mutual bond. Atop the spire is an old structure, a twin-tined edifice. I'll include a sketch on the back of the parchment. This structure spoke to me in sensations and images, and it seems to respond to my presence in some limited capacity. This is what happened as best as I can think to describe it. Does any of this sound familiar or bring to mind any old stories or rumors? Let's not send that yet. Let's check the other one. Respond with questions for your own. Did you know what the wording of the edict would entail? Did you advocate that I be sent on what was likely to be a one-way journey? Your questions seem to imply that my actions at Vendrian's Well were orchestrated, when they were in fact the product of me responding to a chaotic situation. Nothing more. Dealing with two petulant, disagreeable archons occupied what precious time I might have been spent undermining Kairos. What? Occupied what precious time I might have spent undermining Kairos. What in the world? Okay, why would I respond with that? Is that a typo? Occupied what precious time I might have. I might have spent, comma, undermining Kairos? Is that what it's supposed to say? Alright. Let's not send that. We can downplay the events. My only goal was to stay alive, not let the indecision cause the edict. Alright, let's just be honest. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Who can say? We'll find out in 24 hours, it looks like. Cool. So, Ebb, looks like you have new
The
things to
second
say.
spire has awoken to your presence. This is fascinating, and I admit enviable. If it turns out your connection to the spires invites death and woe, my jealousy might wane a bit. I've been mulling over that structure we found atop Vendrian's well. Would you be opposed to me studying the sculpture in closer detail? I'd perhaps work a spell or two near the structure. Simple cantrips of Gravelight by which to read and inspect, but I will not poke or shove the thing in any way physical or mystical.
Gravelight is the magical term for the light of the moon, Terratus grave, specifically when harnessed and manipulated for nefarious purposes. While the moon's rays are normally incapable of causing so much as a mild sunburn, the Tidecasters have long studied magic that can concentrate these rays into bolts and beams of searing doom. The Tidecasters have spent centuries trying to mimic and control the moon's tidal pull on the oceans, and will often mention that diverting moonlight is the easy stuff. Okay. If you think it is wise, of course.
Thank you. Next time we have a good moonlit night, I best settle in and see what sort of magic perturbations I can sense from the sculpture. What is it you need? I have a great deal of ambivalence regarding the Scarlet, so I must ask. I'm not sure I find your silence. Ask away.
Alright, and Lantry has some new stuff to say.
So, your latest acquisition has me thinking about the spires some more. By all accounts, they go as far back as the old walls. Over the centuries, the nobles of the tiers have claimed the spires, but they've only ever battled over the land at the ground level of the monuments. I've never seen the glyphs of a spire light up in all my years. Not until you show up. If this were an isolated incident, I'd be confused. But it seems the spires, plural, are somehow connected to you. What's your secret?
I've studied at Tunon's feet, proclaimed edicts, broken them too. I'm sure I've been exposed to all sorts of arcane powers. A long sigh escapes Lantry, and he sticks his quill in his mouth, chewing on the tip. His head tilts from one side to the other, muttering inchoate half-words. I always want to know what you're thinking.
My mind is going back to Ascension Hall. I wonder if Graven Ash or Narot had claimed it as their own, would the spire come alive for either of them the way it did for you?
The Edict of Execution was pushing for someone to claim Ascension Hall. Can't be coincidence.
Ah, such a clever child. I can't imagine the Overlord would ever carelessly word an edict. You are right. I don't imagine Kairos leaves anything to mere coincidence.
Do you think the spires are connected to Kairos in some fashion?
If you're asking if Kairos built them or controls them, no. They predate all mention of Kairos, and I'm sure if Kairos could control the other spires, that fact would be shamelessly flaunted. But it occurs to me that perhaps Kairos didn't have a connection, but does now, thanks to your actions.
Are there stories of awakened spires elsewhere in Terratus?
There are other spires, and I've heard of notable figures trying to build monuments atop or astride the spires, but nothing I've read matches the mystical connection you've made with the spire.
I wonder if Kairos knew that canceling the edict would in fact unlock the spires, if that was his plan or hope all along.
Of course. How can I help?
What are your thoughts on our traveling companions?
Are you asking for an objective assessment? Or is this your way of saying you want to gossip?
What do you think of traveling with Siren?
As a chronicler of history, I am most honored to have the chance to travel alongside a luminary. I can write down her speech word for word, letter for letter, and proclaim it back, but yet the words lack her charm. This supports my hypothesis that her power manifests by the actual sound of her voice, and less of the particulars the words chosen. Fascinating.
So, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying my words have no weight or significance, and it's simply my magic that makes me powerful. I've got a song for you, Lantry. Do you want to hear it?
What? It's high praise.
Alright, what do you think of Barrick?
You must have some leverage over him, as I would have thought he'd lead us into a disfavored trap long ago. Or maybe the Legion is just that polite? I must admit, I am completely fascinated by his predicament. Ever tried diagramming the articulations of his armor? Don't. It'll only lead to madness and ruination.
Alright, what about verse?
I know little of swordplay, and couldn't work a curve and arrow to save my life. I can't really comment on the lady.
Lady, you're just afraid to talk in front of me,
I was
clear
gonna
as day.
say.
Your sweat is easier to read than your ink scribbles.
Yeah, he was playing coy.
What? No, not at all. I just don't know how to comment on a warrior's worth, that's all.
Sure.
Spare me your blather. Huh. Think that, do you? Didn't know you had such swollen hope for me.
No need to keep secrets, Lantry.
A most fascinating specimen. I think she has great potential. Dangerous amount of potential, to be blunt. The Scarlet Furies are the fighting elite of the Scarlet Chorus, and that means floating to the top of a sea of blood and chum. We should consider ourselves lucky to have her on our side, with her weapons usually pointed away from us.
Okay, what do you think of Ebb?
Good tidecasters stay underwater. Kairos did the Tears a favor by erasing those moon howlers from history. A shame one of them escaped justice.
Yikes.
I like that I make you this agitated. Considering all the things that don't seem to bother you in the slightest. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of getting off on how much power you're giving me here.
Ugh. And then there's your coquettish act whenever someone calls you on your teeth. I'll be the one ready to tangle when, not if, you decide to pounce.
I think Landry has crushes on like everybody in the party is what I'm getting from this.
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable... Well, you might want to ask a more soldierly type about
Okay.
the...
We'll deal with that stuff later. Alright, Sage Garrus, what do you have to say for yourself? Greetings, Fatebinder. The sage bows low before you, the quills in his hood brushing the ground. Who are you, and how did you get into my spire? He takes a cautious step back. Garrus, I'm your scribe and researcher. I've heard great things about you, about this place. The library here is incredible, if you don't mind me saying so. He quails back with uncertainty and fear. When I heard about the library you were building, I just had to come. I watched the workers as they hauled the stone and scrolls up here. There was an awful lot, and they were very tired, so I did what little I could to assist. Then, on the last day, as everyone was leaving, I just stayed behind. Why are you here, Sage Garrus? I take it you'll need someone to organize this collection of scrolls, someone to catalog new texts as you discover them, and someone to organize research efforts. As your scribe, I can do all three. In fact, I'm excited to get started. I've already started looking through your collection, and he cuts himself off and sighs. To be honest, I need the work. The Vellum Citadel isn't exactly up to its old standards, and I'm afraid there aren't many safe places where a sage can find employ during the war. Well, what can you research for me? Oh, any number of topics. Magic, alchemy, the history of the world. You have an impressive collection. Not as large as the Vellum Citadel, perhaps, but no sense in crying over burnt parchment. I started compiling a list of possible research topics. Allow me to show you. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. research for plans and schematics for artifacts. Well, we don't have anywhere near the requirements. And we don't have the requirements for items either, so much for that. Alright. We have a spire worker. Please, pay no mind to me. Okay. Alright, looks like we got some items we can pick up. Oh, these are crafting materials that we need, actually. Neat. Okay. Small settlement resides on the bank of a large river.
My Lord Binder, you have something which requires my attention? What can I do for you?
Okay, nothing too new there. But we have a bunch more crafting materials, so let's see what we can research now. I want to research something. We need more recruits, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, we do that here. Well, I'm thinking... gosh, I don't know. Maybe Gravelight and Illusions? That's a lot of our money, though. Maybe let's just do this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now we should have enough for one of these. Find new recipes for new items. Okay, I don't know what that is going to do. Okay, so what's our journal looking like now? I guess the next place to go... Let's take a look at the world map. If we can. Maybe not. Okay. I mean, I'm thinking we could go to Caffady next. I mean, that's kind of our next explicit quest as far as the main story goes. We do have this kind of open plot thread, I guess, about the Bronze Brotherhood. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out. Let's go check in on the Iron Hall Trail, and then maybe we'll call it there for the day. And, yeah, when we come back, we'll go visit Cacophony and see what the voices of Nerat have to say. Let's see if, what's her name has any more, I don't know, any more thoughts? Doesn't look like it. what? We actually... Let's check the hall first, because now I want to see... Alright, after a few hours of difficult travel through an area with dense undergrowth, you happen upon a small stream where you can refill your water skins and wash the sweat from your brow. Nearby, you spot a large copse of narrow trees with leaf-bearing vines coiling around their trunks. As the vines snake upward, dozens of thin, yellowish-green stems spring forth along the plant's cane, some of them stiff and upright, others drooping downward like long hairs. At the end of these stems, an explosion of bright orange berries radiates outward, ripe and abundant. To your eye, they appear to be bristleberries. They're a very distinctive fruit, nutritious and energizing. They're also, unfortunately, exceedingly similar in appearance to bristlebane, a berry that is tolerated by beastmen and animals, but rather toxic to humans. Let's examine the vine's leaves. The leaves extending from the main vine are bright green and lobed, with edges resembling undulating hills. This matches an old saying you recall about the berries. Leaves like hills, safe from chills. Leaves like rain, unending pain. The berries appear to be safe. Well, let's examine these berries. Clustered together in tight drupelets, the berries vary from bright orange to a yellowish-orange color. The size of each individual fruit differs slightly between bristleberry and bristlebane, but it's very difficult to determine without the two side by side. Well, let's eat the berries. You adopt a cautious approach, filling your pouches with berries while eating only a single cluster. The fruit is sweet and tart, surprisingly juicy for its size, and the thought of immediately eating another handful is tantalizing. But you restrain yourself. With a stream as your guide, you follow the dense forest and eventually reach the main road with little difficulty. A rush of sugar and euphoria puts a spring in your step. Certain you spotted your edible berry from the toxic, you tear into your pouches and devour the berries, invigorated by every bite. Satisfied, you bound down the road, revitalized for the journey to come. Heck yeah. That's just delightful. So there is still that mysterious unopened door. That's why I came back here. And despite claiming the spire, it is still quite ominous as far as presentation goes. So we can't open this. Alright. I want someone to read the word Terratus out loud so I know how it's pronounced. Not entirely sure. Terratus? 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 Okay, cool. Alright, we are going to call it there. I think exploring the town and grabbing that spire counts as good progress. I will try to continue this this week, and don't think I'll be able to do any streaming of this tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. Next weekend's going to be pretty busy too, so I would like to still fit this in as much as I can. So, but you know, is what it is. No matter what happens. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching and following along, and I will talk to you soon, I hope. I hope you have a great day, great evening, great rest of your weekend, and God help us this week. It's going to be a wild one, I think. So, good luck, everybody. I hope you are well.